ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Now, your Game Center update.
I'm Nick Keyser. The Lady Vols basketball program made some history, taking down Toledo last night 94-47. Tennessee advanced to its 36th Sweet 16 appearance, the most by any women's program all time. They'll take on Virginia Tech in Seattle on Saturday. The Preds are back in action this evening in Buffalo with pregame at 5 and puck drop at 6 p.m. Weighed in this morning on any updates the team has on injuries.
Ryan McDonough is on the trip in Buffalo, and there's a chance that he could play tonight, and that would be fantastic, but that's the only change that we have in our lineup. Our captain, Roman Yossi, remains at home in Nashville, and he's out day to day at the moment.
And the Tennessee Titans introduced some of their newest players yesterday: Arden Key, Andre Dillard, Daniel Brunskill, and Aziz Al-Shair among those introduced. The Titans also added 3 new assistants to round out their coaching staff. Tom Quinn and Anthony Levine were named special teams assistants, while Matt Jones is named the new offensive line assistant. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit theGameNashville.com. Tonight, your Nashville Predators battle the Buffalo Sabres. Coverage begins at 5 on your home for Smashville. WPRT FM Pegram, WBUC HD2 Laverne, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to Superbook Sports. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. Ian is here today. Hello, Ian.
What up, what up?
So got a text from the old boss man. Ryan Porth sent me a text, which is going to be what starts us off on today's program. But I'll just give a little context before I get to Porth's text, which literally came in about 20 minutes ago. So over the weekend, I was watching SportsCenter, and I think, what I love about this show is this audience, like, they understand the truth. You go out into Twitter or you talk to people sometimes on the streets, they don't have any idea. You talk to people on this show, and they get it. And I am so thankful for that. Been watching SportsCenter, and Jeremy Fowler's on TV, and he's sitting there talking about Lamar Jackson. And honest to God, I'm tired of Lamar Jackson. Like, I'm tired of what contracts Lamar going to get and who's going to give it to him and everything. I mean, I don't care. But Jeremy Fowler was asked about teams that would be interested in Lamar Jackson. Remember, the Falcons used to be the hot team. And then Lamar hit the market, and the Falcons are like, yeah, we're not interested. And so now everybody's got to figure out some hot team. This is what Jeremy Fowler said on SportsCenter on Sunday.
So what's happening now behind the scenes?
The teams have to contact him directly if they want to negotiate. Yeah. It's my understanding that the NFL Management Council provides his information to all 32 teams. So they got his cell phone, his office phone, whatever it is, they can contact him. So right now there's no real firm offer sheet for Lamar Jackson that I'm aware of. Teams are probably slow playing this. The draft could be a good indicator because you have a team like, say, the Colts at number 4. If they feel like they can't get the quarterback of the future they want in the draft, maybe they pivot to Lamar Jackson. The Jets, should they strike out with Aaron Rodgers? Certainly that's not expected, but they could pivot. And then you got some wild cards like a Tennessee or a New England, teams that like to run the ball. You never know.
Oh, Tennessee. And I sat there and I thought to myself, like, is that a topic? Jeremy Fowler throws out the Titans as a possibility for Lamar Jackson. And then even me, I was like, no, it's not a topic. Apparently Fowler also said on SportsCenter, and I didn't see this, that somebody around the league said Tennessee could be a fit for Lamar Jackson because they cleared some cap space, and people are supposed to believe in cap space and the cap and everything else. And so they cleared some cap space, and Rand Carthon might want to get a Lamar Jackson and so on and so forth. And again, like I said, I heard Fowler say that. I mean, the Patriots are not going to get Lamar Jackson, okay? Aaron Rodgers is going to the Jets. They're not going to get Lamar Jackson. Indy, I mean, maybe, but it would have to happen after the draft because they're not giving up the 4th overall pick. So that takes us to Ryan Porth. And Ryan Porth sent me a text. And this came in, honestly, like 20 minutes ago. And Porth said, percent chance the Titans end up with Lamar Jackson. Ian, guess what percent I gave Porth when he asked what the percent chance the Titans end up with Lamar Jackson is?
5.
Oh, I think that's rich. I gave him
1.
0.
Oh, 0.
I gave him 0. A 0% chance that Lamar Jackson ends up with the Titans. Porth says bookies.com is giving them a 20% chance at 4-1 odds, and that the Titans have the best odds outside of the Ravens for acquiring Lamar Jackson. Now, I don't do bookies.com, but I'm sure it's very popular. What? Lamar Jackson? So let's start with this. The Titans are not going to acquire Lamar Jackson. And there's a bunch of reasons why the Titans aren't going to acquire Lamar Jackson. But if you're somebody who follows this show, you know that we've been keeping an eye on the money the Titans either have and are not spending, or the money that the Titans don't have to spend. The Titans can't even go out and get a real left tackle. They can't get a former starting guard to play guard. They took a guy who didn't start last year, and he's going to play guard. This gave Aaron Brewer $4 million to play center at 274 pounds. They don't have a left guard. They don't have a second receiver. So with what money are they going to sign Lamar Jackson with? I mean, if the Titans were to offer sheet Lamar Jackson, and let's say the Titans are not going to fully guarantee a quarterback $230 million. It is never going to happen. So let's start there. Now, Lamar has hinted, which I don't believe, but Lamar has hinted at the idea that he really doesn't want the fully guaranteed Deshaun Watson contract, and that the Ravens have only offered him $130 million guaranteed, which I don't think is true either, because Diana Rossini said that he told her that he's been offered $160 million guaranteed by the Ravens. So, I mean, he keeps claiming this $130. Let's say the Titans gave him the Kyler Murray contract. And I don't know the specifics about the Murray contract, but I think the practical guarantee, which is not the guarantee at time of signing, I think the guarantee for Murray, the practical, is $190. I'm guessing over 5 years, and it averages out to $46 million a crack. So let's say the Titans were to make a similar deal. 5 years, Lamar Jackson, $50 million a crack. So you're talking about $500 million, and the Titans are willing to guarantee either at signing or the practical guarantee, becomes guaranteed on the third day of the league year, in the second year, that kind of thing. Let's say they guarantee him $200 million. Year, right?
No. You want 250.
250. I'm stupid. Math on the show. 250. So 5 years, 250, 200 guaranteed at time of signing. The Ravens are probably going to match that. So the idea that the Titans would take the time to go recruit Lamar Jackson and open up the budget space in order to sign a $200 million guaranteed contract for Lamar Jackson, then turn around, wipe out the entire offense, tell Tim Kelly, hey, everything that you've been working on, throw it in the trash. We have to write a different offense. You ever called this offense before? Nope. Okay, we need you to call this offense. And then, you got to go out and get more players. You got to get different kinds of players. You have to go get a tight end, which the Titans don't have outside of Chig, because you're going to need 2 for Lamar Jackson. What? And then on top of it, the Ravens are going to match that contract. The Ravens are going to match $50 million a year with $200 million practically guaranteed. In fact, you did the Ravens a solid, because now the Ravens don't have to go back and forth with Lamar, and they don't have to make him upset when they say, Lamar, you don't win in the playoffs. Lamar, you're the 8th best quarterback in the league, so we're not going to pay you like you're the best quarterback in the league, or things like that. They don't have to be the ones to bring the bad news in the negotiation to Lamar and say, it's you that gave him the offer sheet, and the Ravens matched it. So why would the Titans waste their time doing that? Unless the Titans wanted to give him a $250 million guaranteed contract. And quite frankly, that would be stupid, because Lamar has been hurt each of the last 2 years. And guess what? Lamar's not even that good. People tell me, well, he won league MVP in 2019. Okay. And Derrick Henry rushed for 2,000 yards and was the offensive player of the year a year later. And they're trying to get rid of him. So what's that? Stephon Gilmore was the defensive player of the year in 2019. The same year Lamar Jackson won the league MVP. And guess what? He just went for a 5th-round compensatory pick in a trade. I mean, the idea that he was league MVP, who cares? Lamar ain't that good, folks. And so when I see this, again, we were talking yesterday about the money the Titans haven't spent in free agency, the money they're not willing to spend. They're haggling over a pay cut with Kevin Byard, one of the most popular players in the history of the team, who's still playing at an elite level, who's the 5th highest paid safety in the league. We're talking about the difference between $14 million and $10 million, or whatever it is they want Byard to take a pay cut to. And that team that's haggling over that says, oh, we can't pay Derrick Henry $10.5 million. We can't do that. That team is going to sign Lamar Jackson, and that team is going to give up 2 first-round picks in order to sign Lamar Jackson? Now, look, if it were all just, hey, Lamar wants a standard contract. He wants, like I said, I think Lamar, you're probably looking at $50 million a year right now if you were to acquire Lamar Jackson. So if Lamar were to say, hey, I want to play for the Tennessee Titans, I don't want to re-sign with the Ravens, I want to play for the Titans, I'll do $48 million a year. We'll do 5 years, guarantee me 3, like pretty much every other quarterback gets their contracts guaranteed to that extent. Let's do that. Then I think the Titans could consider trading 2 first-round picks for Lamar Jackson, because a starting quarterback is worth 2 first-round picks. But even then, let's say that were on the table, we would still be discussing 12 games last year, 12 games the year before that. Is he immature? Is he hard to deal with because he doesn't have an agent? Can he win in the playoffs? Can you build a team around him? What kind of team do you have to build around him? Would he and Vrabel get along? Like, we'd still be having all those same questions. And instead, the way it's done now, if the Titans were to sign Lamar to a deal, the Ravens could just match it. And you think Amy Adams Strunk is going to be the one to give Lamar Jackson a fully guaranteed contract? Like I said, our audience is smart. You guys know better than that. You guys that listen to this show, you know that that's not going to happen. So I don't know who the hell bookies.com is. This is a FanDuel show. I do not know who the hell bookies.com is. But the idea that the Titans would be number 2 in terms of the betting favorites for Lamar Jackson is ridiculous. Because there has to be a stupid owner out there or a richer owner out there that would throw his hands up and say, I want Lamar. And right now there hasn't been. But we know that's not Amy. So the idea of the Titans adding Lamar Jackson, absolutely preposterous. And you all know me. You all know. We hammered Aaron Rodgers to the Titans every day for 2 years. I remember Jim Wyatt took a crack in his mailbag about how, hey, you want to talk about Aaron Rodgers, you want to talk about Tom Brady, you want to talk about Russell Wilson, Jared Stillman's the guy for you. I am the guy to explore every rumor, gossip, nook and cranny, everything out there. I'm the guy. And I can't get into this one. I got Lamar Jackson to the Titans. Like the Titans are going to be the team that pays Lamar Jackson. They don't want to pay Derrick Henry. Like they're going to be the team that pays Lamar Jackson. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We're off and running on this. 615-737-1025. 1, I think there's the cold hard truth on Lamar. And 2, I get mad at people when they say, well, I don't think that's going to happen, so we're not going to talk about it. If, Ian, can I bold the word if? Can we bold that on the stream at the bottom where we have the little thing? I'm sure it says something like Lamar Jackson.
I can try. I will attempt that.
Can we bold the word if? If Lamar Jackson and the Titans were to be a match, how it would go down, what would have to happen, and what would be so out of the norm for it to be a reality. 615-737-1025 is our phone number here on Stillman and Company. I'm all fired up today. And until about 10 minutes ago, I didn't know this was going to be our leadoff topic, but it is. 615-737-1025. Join 1025 The Game for the second annual Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament, benefiting Souls for Souls on June 7th at the Hermitage Golf Course. And put your team together and come play with athletes, musicians, and other local celebrities to support a great cause. And, of course, have loads of fun. Plus, you'll have the chance to win awesome prizes. Sign up to play, sponsor, or donate at thegamenashville.com/golf.
Tune in to Robbie and Rexroad this week for your chance to win tickets to the Louder Than Life Festival.
They're all in there, man. They're trying to win.
Yes. The Louder Than Life Festival, September 21st through the 24th at the Kentucky Expo Center in Louisville. Catch some of the biggest acts in music.
That rocks.
Blew the house up, man. It was ill.
Listen for your chance to win all this week on Robbie and Rexroad, 1025 and 1063 The Game.
Hey, it's Mike from Newton Nissan. Have you ever thought to yourself, buying a car online? That sounds like a nightmare. But fear not, my friends. With Newton FastPass, it's easier than catching a leprechaun. In fact, our system is so user-friendly that even a leprechaun can do it. And let me tell you, those little guys are notoriously bad with technology. Also, with Newton FastPass, you're practically guaranteed to get a great deal. It's like finding a four-leaf clover in a field of overpriced cars. And who doesn't love a good deal? I mean, I'd be willing to bet that even the most skeptical among us would feel lucky to snag a great deal on a new car. That's not all. When you use Newton FastPass, we'll throw in a free leprechaun to help you navigate the process. And trust me, these little guys know their way around a car deal. Just be sure to keep an eye on them because they can be a little mischievous. So what are you waiting for? Visit newtonnissan.com and join the ranks of lucky car buyers. You might even feel like you're living in your own personal pot of gold. And remember, with Newton FastPass, you're always in luck.
In football, we all take our hits, but protection, that keeps you in the game. That's why I always wear a helmet and pads on the field. Life too comes with risks. So I got vaccinated and boosted for COVID-19. Hi, this is former Tennessee Titans tackle Brad Hopkins. Talk to your doctor. Get the information you need to make an informed choice. Gear up, Tennessee. Protect yourself and your family against COVID-19.
For more information, go to nflagearup.org/Tennessee.
Hey, it's Jared for Hiller. Sometimes replacing equipment in your home can be overlooked until something breaks, but there's actually big problems that can come from outdated, old vintage HVAC systems. Older systems require more maintenance and results in higher utility bills. This month during Hiller's Vintage Showdown, they're giving away a free HVAC system to the owner of the oldest unit. It's easy to enter. Just go online to happyhiller.com and submit a picture of your old unit. Everybody wins with a trade-in credit and 0% interest financing for up to 48 months on replacement. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Call the Happy Face Truck today.
It's electric in Smashville. The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 429 has a new path to a dignified career. Local 429 is accepting applications for the highest skilled electricians and linemen and is providing the best training in Middle Tennessee. They are the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 429. Call them at 615-889-4429 or go online to ibew429.org. IBEW Local 429, your proud seventh man since the beginning. Go Preds.
Social Furniture's Spring Home Makeover Sales event is going on now with the latest styles and colors in stock, ready for immediate delivery and setup. If you don't need a fancy schmancy showroom or the stress of a high-pressure sales team, but you don't want to pay high-quality prices, come to Social Furniture. All top-quality furniture and mattresses are on sale now. Don't miss this Extreme Home Makeover Sales event that's going on now at Social Furniture.
I shop at Social Furniture because of the way I'm treated.
That's Social Furniture on Charlotte Avenue.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game and on Instagram at 1025 The Game Nashville.
Hey!
Oh, yeah. And like us on Facebook, too. You're listening to Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
I mean, we're 5 to 6 weeks out from the NFL draft, so you don't expect there to be any seismic movement before that. Maybe the draft sort of, like you said, sorts itself out.
There's a feeling in the league that this will be slow and that it's possible that no offer sheet at all comes because of the dynamics of all you have to do to change your offense, the $200+ million in guarantees, 2 first-round picks you got to give up. There's just a lot involved.
Here you go, Jeremy Fowler on SportsCenter. It was finally nice and refreshing to hear somebody on TV actually say, you know, there's actually a lot of reasons why these teams wouldn't sign Lamar Jackson. Because every time I feel like I turn on TV and they talk about Lamar Jackson, it's like these former players that are like, how could you not sign Lamar Jackson? And you heard Fowler, he's like, well, there's 2 first-round picks. There's $200 million in guarantees. There's the offer sheet the Ravens could match. There's all these reasons to not do it.
Completely change your offense.
Yeah, I mean, there's all these reasons to not do it. And there's all these reasons why the Titans are not going to do it. But he was the one, Jeremy Fowler, that said, hey, I'm hearing that the Titans could be players for Lamar Jackson. So let's just play the if game. Ian, what's the key word here?
If
the Titans were to make a run at Lamar Jackson, here's how I think it would go down. First off, I think it would cost you 2 players, Ryan Tannehill and Kevin Byard. And it would cost you 2 first-round picks, which you would have to give up to the Ravens for signing Lamar Jackson off of the non-exclusive franchise tag. Now, this is being conservative here because it's probably going to cost you more money to get the Ravens to not match it. But I figure, as we discussed just loosely in the first segment, $250 million over 5 years. That's where we have to start with Lamar Jackson, right? Okay. $250 over 5. We got to guarantee 200 of that because Kyler Murray has a practical guarantee of $190 million. And so Lamar's going to have to budge off of the I want Deshaun's $230 million guaranteed, but you can't give him less guaranteed money than Kyler Murray because Kyler Murray kind of stinks and Lamar's freaking good. So, okay. So now you're at 200 guaranteed. Now, for all you Cap fanatics out there, Willie, for all you Cap and Joe, for all you Cap fans out there, the cap might be the easiest part because you give Lamar Jackson a $40 million signing bonus and you give him a $10 million salary this year, so he still gets his $50 million. Now they're going to try to negotiate more money up front, and the more money up front they have, the lower the cap number will be this year. But for just sake of keeping it simple, I'm giving him $40 million at signing. Congratulations, Lamar. You're guaranteed $200 million. I don't even know if you're that good. And I don't know if you'll play all 17 games. And I don't know if you can win in the playoffs. And I don't know if my coordinator can call an offense for you. But I'm giving you $200 million. But I'm giving you 40 today. And I'm giving you a $10 million salary, which then means Lamar Jackson would have an $18 million cap number. That would actually not be that bad, considering that you would release Ryan Tannehill after June 1st. He would then have $18 million in dead cap, so you're back at the $36 million that you have essentially committed at quarterback now. I would release Ryan Tannehill, so that's $27 million off of my payroll, and I would release Kevin Byard's $14 million, since that seems to be the hot item of now to release. And you can't release Derrick Henry, right? Like, if you're going to have Lamar Jackson, you're going to do all those RPOs. You're going to fake it to the back. Lamar keeps it. You're going to give it to the back. You're going to throw it. If you need Derrick Henry for that. So Derrick Henry stays. So at that point, right now I'm at $161 million, according to overthecap.com. Now I'm going to have to pay some money as far as the draft is concerned, but we'll get to that in a second. So I'm at $161 million right now. Take away Tannehill's 27, take away Byard's 14, and I'm at $120 million. Add the $50 million with Lamar, 40 at the signing bonus, 10 as the salary. Add that for Lamar Jackson. Again, he's making $50 million a year, and I'm at $170. So now I got $170 million in cash. We figure a Jeffrey Simmons extension will cost about $25 million in year one money, and will again lower the cap number. That takes us to $195. Last year, the Titans had an opening day payroll, according to Spotrac, of $217 million. So we can fit that in. Now, if I were the Titans, and this would be an absolute deal breaker, and I do not know specifically with the non-exclusive franchise tag when the deadline is for teams to negotiate that. Like, when is the day that Lamar can no longer negotiate with other teams? But if I were the Titans, I would wait until after the draft in order to be able to do this. Because I'm not giving up the 11th overall pick, because I need that player to be on Lamar's team to help Lamar. So, I'm drafting whomever in the first round, Let's just say they trade down and draft Zay Flowers, or hell, let's just go by Daniel Jeremiah's latest mock draft that just came out at NFL.com. Jackson Smith and Jigba. The Titans take Smith and Jigba. Then, after the draft, I'm signing Lamar, and I'm giving away next year's first, and I'm giving away 25's first. Now I have Lamar Jackson. Now, there are still a bunch of problems here. Like, can Tim Kelly call an offense led by Lamar Jackson? But that's not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is the Ravens are going to match that contract. The second that Lamar agrees to a deal with me, unless it is so outrageously over the top, the second that happens, the Ravens are going to match it. And he's going to go back to the Ravens, and I'm going to be right back where I was. The one avenue, and again, I do not think, for all the people to give up this kind of money for a quarterback, and a quarterback that didn't even go to his team's playoff game and stand on the sidelines, the only little caveat there that I would add into this is if I was trying to sell PSLs for a new stadium, I feel semi-confident, not 100% confident, but I feel semi-confident that Lamar Jackson would, in fact, be my starting quarterback in 2027, which is now the opening date. It got pushed back. It was originally 26. Now I saw a report. It's going to be 27. So that would be what? 23, 24, 25, 26. That would be the 5th year of this Lamar Jackson contract. Now, most guys, when you sign them to 5-year contracts, quarterback's a little different, but Lamar's a different kind of quarterback. Most guys usually you don't want by that 5th year. So that would be another thing to keep an eye on. The only way I could see the Titans entertaining this at all is, one, if it's after the draft, so they can get a player with the 11th overall pick, and two, and more importantly here, if the Titans were to say, okay, well, we need a big star to sell PSLs around in our new stadium, and then highlighting Lamar as that guy. But even then, I'm just not convinced Lamar's that good. And I know a lot of you out there, well, he's better than Tannehill, which I'm not completely convinced of the way that, I think Lamar's going to put up more fantasy points than Tannehill. I think that Lamar is going to, sell more jerseys than Tannehill. I think, he'll have better stats and things like that. You'll probably win more regular season games because of Lamar than you would because of Tannehill. But ultimately, the idea that you're going to win the Super Bowl because you acquired Lamar Jackson, I don't totally buy. And I think that's why the Ravens are stopping short. Now, let me say this. If this were for Joe Burrow, I'd say do it. If this were for Patrick Mahomes, I'd say do it. 2 first-round draft choices, $250 million, $200 guaranteed, $18 million cap hit next year, added to the budget, do it. But I don't think Lamar's those two guys. Now, I wouldn't do this for Trevor Lawrence. 615-737-1025. We'll get to your phones on this here on Stillman and Company. Hey, come see Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace, followed by yours truly, Stillman and Company, live at Central Barbecue in Hillsboro Village this Thursday. Come by for some great Memphis-style barbecue and catch your favorite teams compete in the tournament. Again, that is Central Barbecue in Hillsboro Village this Thursday.
1, 2, 3. What other changes are ahead for the Titans?
Could Rand Carthon seriously be looking to move Derrick Henry?
Are they contemplating a rebuild?
1, 2, 3. Could the two-tone blue add in free agency?
There has to be some sacrifice on the other side of the ball. Could be.
Are you telling people we can't spend money in free agency? Where's the money?
1, 2, 3. Keep it locked to Nashville's best Titans talk. Talking Titans, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Spring in and style up with huge savings on top athletic brands at your Dick's Sporting Goods warehouse sales store in Franklin. Stay active this spring with up to 70% off the athletic styles you love. Shop deals on thousands of styles from top athletic apparel and footwear brands, like $10 tees, tanks, and shorts for the family, $20 swimwear, $20 golf polos, and running footwear for $60 or less. Find incredible deals and incredible style at your Dick's Sporting Goods warehouse sales store in Franklin at Watson Glen.
The team at Mercedes-Benz of Music City have done it again. Here's Edwin Vickery to explain.
4-time recipient of Best of the Best. Less than 10% of the dealers in the country receive this award. How did you do it? We say culture eats strategy for lunch, because we can strategize all we want, but unless you have the right culture and chemistry in the dealership, it will not work.
Live the dream at Mercedes-Benz of Music City, mbofmc.com.
Men, this is Evan Bass with the Tennessee Men's Clinic, and I know firsthand the drain low testosterone has on relationships. I was exhausted at the end of each day. Heck, I was tired all day. Even in my 30s, I barely had the energy to throw the football around with my boys. And then I finally treated my low T. It's changed so much. I feel like a teenager again. I have 5 kids, so I can almost keep up, and I got ripped. Now, I'm not saying you need a six-pack, but increased energy, belly fat reduction, better sleep, muscle tone, the mental effects alone, I've seen so many lives changed. And that's why I'm pleased to announce that we are now offering the same great services we offer in our Nashville clinic at our new location in Franklin. So call us today and book your appointment at our Midtown location or at our new clinic in Cool Springs. Your first visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatment extra results vary.
For one day only, Saturday, March 25th, get 5+ acres and a new cabin package on sale for only $69.9 during the Nashville Acreage Grand Opening Land Sale. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get the best of both worlds. Flat, usable, prime Nashville acreage with the biggest and most spectacular ridgeline views in the entire Nashville area. Priced below market prices. Come explore this recreational paradise and make your dreams of owning exceptional Nashville acreage a reality for less. With 5+ acres and a new cabin package for just $69.9. Best of all, these properties include first-class infrastructure like county water, electric, and county road frontage. All huge advantages in today's market. Appointment times are filling up fast. Call now to book your private tour. 615-437-6348. That's 615-437-6348. Cabin kit package for materials only. Delivered to site by third party. Taxes and delivery not included. Price is subject to change without notice or obligation. Call for complete details. An equal housing opportunity.
When you want live and local.
If they were just better at the offensive line.
You can be a contender in the AFC again.
They've had more winning seasons than not. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game has you covered. Looking for some national programming?
Why do I want to get a running back like that 5 more years?
The AFC now is so deep at quarterback.
Check out 94.9 The Fan. Nashville's home for all things sports is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and 94.9 The Fan.
Hey Nashville, this is Penny Hardaway, University of Memphis coach. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Should the Titans be suitors?
No, they still shouldn't be suitors. Again, I'm going to stick to what I said. I want, as much as I like Lamar Jackson as a quarterback and as a football player, I want my own quarterback. I want my own quarterback that I can go out and scout, that I can bring in, that I can groom to be that guy. I don't want somebody else's quarterback, because even with Lamar Jackson, you bring him in, dynamic player, dynamic to me, quarterback, but you have to build that. You have to build the offense around him. You got to do some things around him. You got to go out and get another pass catcher. You got to go out and rebuild your offensive line. I don't think if you bring in Lamar in, you got to trade away picks, and then you got to pay him. So where does that leave you as far as rebuilding your team? Not much. You can't do much in regards to rebuilding your team. So to me, I'm going to stick with what I said. Go and get your own quarterback. Move up in the draft. Get your quarterback. Build your team around your franchise quarterback that you will have hopefully for the next 15 years. And we will never, ever have to worry about a quarterback situation again, because we got our number 1 and we got our number 2 in Joshua Dobbs.
Okay, well, Dobbs is obviously gone. That was Derek. Dobbs is obviously gone off the board to Cleveland. But I don't think it's that easy, right? Because Carolina's taking a quarterback number 1. Houston's going to be taking a quarterback number 2. So the best you can do is get up to number 3. And if you take a quarterback at number 3, it's Will Levis or Anthony Richardson. And there's no guarantee that we won't have to worry about this for 15 years. So I get it. But the idea of, if you bring in Lamar, you're going to have to get him receivers and an offensive line. You're going to have to do that with any quarterback that you go out and get. So those aren't the reasons why I wouldn't be interested in Lamar, but those are Derek's reasons. Now, I did promise your phones, 615-737-1025. And your phones are all over the place today. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. But first, Bookies.com, who again has the Titans as the second most likely destination for Lamar Jackson. This is according to Bookies.com. Here are the odds. The Ravens are plus 225, which I think is crazy good odds.
Shouldn't they be, minus? I almost feel like they should be minus odds at this point.
Agreed. I think those are crazy good odds for the Ravens. The Titans are number 2 at plus 400. That's basically 20%. The Patriots are 3 at plus 500. You think that cheap franchise is going to pay Lamar Jackson when they've got Mac Jones at $3 million or whatever it is? Please. The Vikings, who perpetually guarantee Kirk Cousins like $48 million a year. The Vikings at plus 550. The Colts at plus 1,000. The Jets at 1,400. The Falcons at plus 1,500 and the Field at plus 575. The Titans at plus 400 have better odds than the Field at plus 575. Now, I'm going to say this. Years ago, when I was on the radio in Louisville, Charlie Strong was the football coach. And I forget which website it was. You know, this was before sports gambling was legal, but still everybody talked about it. And Charlie Strong, the coach at Louisville, was the favorite to land the Texas job. And at this time, Texas was talking Nick Saban and big-name coaches. Like they were going to go out there and they were going to hit a home run. And they had all the money lined up and they were going to do it. And we were on the air in Louisville and we knew Charlie Strong was never going to be a fit at Texas. We just knew that, you know, his personality, the way he coached, the way he talked to the media, you know, the way he was, it wasn't going to work at Texas. So we thought that was crazy. And he was the betting favorite. And then all of a sudden, one by one, all these guys start dropping out. Jim Mora Jr. said no. Nick Saban said no. Mike Tomlin said no. I forget who else said no. Like maybe Gary Patterson. I can't remember. All these guys said no. And then they ended up hiring their 4th or 5th choice in Charlie Strong. And that was one of those moments where I was like, hey, maybe the odds makers know something that we don't. But I cannot envision the Titans signing Lamar Jackson. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 615-737-1025 if you want to weigh in. Herb texts into the text line and says, why the hell would Lamar come to the no-line Titans? Herb, why is Lamar doing all of this? Why does Lamar not have an agent? For the money. You people like, why would he not come to the Titans? They don't have an offensive line. Well, because the Ravens are not guaranteeing him the money that he wants, and so he's going to go out there and try to find a team who's going to guarantee him the money he wants, or at least close to the money he wants. So why would he come to the Titans? The money. Why do you think Jesse Bates went from the Cincinnati Bengals, a consistent contender with Joe Burrow at quarterback, to the Atlanta Falcons, who have no plan at quarterback? Because of the money. Sometimes you overthink this stuff. Why would Lamar come here? The money. Now, again, I don't think that the Titans are going to spend the money that it would take to get Lamar Jackson. But, Ian, what's the one word we keep prefacing everything with the Titans and giving Lamar Jackson a contract and what would have to happen after that?
If
the Titans were to do that. Cody says, if we get Lamar, I'd love to trade for a player like Elijah Moore on the cheap. No. We are not going to get that far ahead of ourselves. We are not going to sit there and say, hey, you know, if they get Lamar Jackson, this is the move I want them to make, because you are so far away from being able to get Lamar Jackson. And here's one thing that I'm not convinced of, and I don't get it. You know, I feel like I'm on an island by myself when I say that I think this team can win next season. I feel like all of you think I'm crazy. I feel like everybody doesn't listen. It goes in one year out the other when I say that Tannehill had a good season last year. You know, he had a horrible season 2 years ago, but he had a good season last year, and that Tannehill's not a bad quarterback, and that you did not lose games last year. What did they finish, 7-10 or 8-9 or whatever it was? I think it was 7-10. You finished 7-10. Ryan Tannehill did not lose you 10 games. In fact, if we want to go over all 10 of them, you lost the Giants because Big Boy missed a kick. You lost Buffalo because they're 100 times better than you. Who else did they lose to? They lost another one of those in there, like maybe it was some kind of Scarbini game or something or another. You lost to Philadelphia because they're 1,000 times better than you. You lost to the Bengals because you hit the snapper in the head. You lost to Kansas City because Tannehill didn't play and Malik Willis freaking sucks. You lost to the Texans for the same reason, because Malik Willis stinks. You lost to the Cowboys because you didn't play anybody and because Dallas is better than you. You lost to the Jags because Josh Dobbs fumbled the ball. So now I'm at 9. I'm missing one loss in there somewhere.
Did you say the Chargers?
Chargers. You lost that because you couldn't stop Justin Herbert at the end of the game. Tannehill led you back in that game. So none of your 10 losses were because of your quarterback. So I'm not convinced that Lamar Jackson gives you a better chance to win the Super Bowl than Tannehill does, given the state of everything right now. But I know I'm the only person in the world who feels that way. Everybody else is just so happy. Everybody else just, oh, yeah, get rid of Tannehill. I'm like, what? Like, did we watch the same guy last year? I don't know. Then again, I got everybody telling me that, Derrick Henry's not good anymore. I listened to the midday show. I don't think, Chase today, I don't think Derrick Henry's elite. Why do you not think that? He made the Pro Bowl last year, and I'm talking about like the real making the Pro Bowl on the first go. He was second in the league in rushing. He missed a whole game. Your line stunk. You had no pass catchers. How is Derrick Henry not elite? Now, if you want to say because Derrick Henry's older that he might not be elite next year, that's fine. But you can't say Derrick Henry's not elite right now. At least I don't think you can say that. Texter in the text line goes, you're right, Jared. There is no way the Titans will pay for Lamar Jackson. And honestly, they shouldn't. They shouldn't. And even if they do, unless you want to give him 5 years and $250 million guaranteed, which I would never do, unless you want to do that, chances are the Ravens are going to match whatever contract you put in front of them. And so then all of that will be for naught. Texter said, Jared, if you gave Tennessee a 3% chance to beat Duke, I'll give the Titans a 1% chance to sign Lamar. Like, what makes you think the Titans are going to write that big of a check? I mean, we're talking about a big check. Texter says, what happened to the Jared that said I bought the cheese regarding Tannehill? That was just a few months back. What changed? I thought when I bought the cheese on Tannehill, that was between Tannehill and Tom Brady in 2020. And I bought the cheese, and I said Tannehill over Brady, which is one of my biggest regrets in the history of my decade-long career on the radio. The two things that I am bothered by. Number one, taking the cheese on Tannehill over Brady. I mean, it's Tom freaking Brady. And number two, when Louisville hired Bobby Petrino, and I was on the air there when they hired him back, and I was like, oh, this will be great. And I felt like that was an unmitigated disaster. And I at least felt a little culpable for pushing that opinion one way or another. 615-737-1025. More of your phones to get to here on the program. The Titans made some coaching staff adjustments today. And boy, I hope they work. I'll explain why. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, 1025-1063. The game first, though, let me tell everybody out there that if your bracket is busted, one, do not tell me about it. Because you got to talk about your brackets on your own time. Do not talk to me about your bracket. Secondly, sign up and play the official 16-team Game Bracket Challenge, brought to you by Twin Peaks, home of 29-degree drafts and wall-to-wall sports and the Bluffs at Rocky Ridge. Enjoy the biggest and best views in the Nashville area from your dream acreage home site. Call now at 866-GET-LAND. Go to theGameNashville.com/bracket challenge or the Game Nashville app now and pick your teams for a chance to win tickets to see Luke Combs at Nissan Stadium on Saturday, April 15th.
Shot like a two, and the three is good from Jordan Wright.
After an amazing end-of-season run, the Vanderbilt Commodores look to win the NIT.
Wright fires. Wow!
Join Jerry Stackhouse and his team for every moment on your home for Vanderbilt basketball. 93.3 Classic Hits.
Being value conscious and getting the most for your money is so important these days, and that's why it's more important than ever to shop at Genesis Diamonds, the undisputed value leader.
Part of the education at Genesis Diamonds is we explain to you how we travel the world and purchase our diamonds, how we buy in bulk, we pay cash for our diamonds so we can save every possible percent to save you money on your diamonds.
Genesis Diamonds Vice President David Cooper.
There are no middlemen. There are no other wholesalers or dealers, so we cut out all of those extra added markups and pass those savings on to you.
When you combine that unmatched value with a totally no-pressure shopping experience, you know you're in the right place.
Because we do not work on commission, our sole purpose is to make sure you get exactly what you want. There's nothing in it for us personally, whether you spend $1,000 or $100,000.
That's why at Genesis, people often end up spending less than they had budgeted.
Our goal is to purely present you with options so you can choose exactly what you want.
The value you want, the experience you deserve. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
What's up, everybody? Michelle Knesvik here for Superbook Sports. And listen, make 2023 the year you beat Vegas. Superbook Sports gives you the chance every week to go head-to-head with the best odds makers in Las Vegas. No fancy computer algorithms, no guys across the pond setting lines for American sports, just the best team of odds makers in the business behind the counter at Superbook in Las Vegas. Plus, check out some of the best odds boosts and promo bets anywhere. Download the Superbook Sportsbook app or visit superbook.com to start your battle against Vegas right now. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Do you have a VA loan? In this housing market, homeowners with VA loans have access to a ton of instant cash. Hey, Willie Donick here. Do you need cash to pay off credit cards and other high-interest loans? How does a check for 80 or 90 grand sound right now? Loan Pronto is helping veterans every day get the money they need with a quick and easy zero-cost cash-out refi with zero closing costs. With a VA loan, it's really cool because you can access up to 100% of your home's value. That's 100%. Use that money to pay off credit cards, home equity lines, car loan. Consolidate all your payments into one check per month and close in 2 weeks. Most homeowners who do this end up cutting their overall monthly payments by $800. And Loan Pronto's all-digital process makes it fast and easy. They're doing loans with super low APRs, and they love working with veterans. Call now. See what your options are. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Interest rates are rising, but not at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Replace your old unit fast before new regulations increase prices up to 20%. Get a new unit today at today's price and receive up to $1,500 off, or get 18 months of no payments so the first payment is not until summer of 2024. At Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, all new systems come with a 10-year parts and labor warranty. Schedule your appointment now at springhillac.com. That's springhillac.com.
One is smart.
This has just been a constant trend for this team.
One is funny.
That's right.
Funny looking, maybe. Chase and Michelle with Chase McCabe and Michelle Knesvik.
Are you listening?
I'm listening.
Everybody's listening.
Weekdays from 9 to 11. Presented by Hair Club. Hair Club. Love your hair. Live your life. On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Why'd you keep Craig Ackerman on the staff with the special teams issues this season?
Well, I think what special teams? What are you talking about? Let's look at these objectively and let's talk about it.
Punts that were returned throughout the course of the year, leading the league in those punts.
The punts that were returned against us or ones we returned?
Well, both, honestly.
Well, we were third in the league in the net punting. We were third in the National Football League in net punting. Third, 44 yards. So again, I'm happy to have this conversation, but our punter just set a record. And again, there were some long, flat punts that got returned, but when you look at it, third in the National Football League in net punting with the number of players that were on our punt team and the number of gunners we went through is pretty good. Yep. We got to find guys. Rand, go find some returners that don't drop the ball. Because I'm with you. We went through a lot of returners. You have a vision of guys, okay? You asked me a question. I'm going to try to answer it. We're going to catch punts until our hands bleed or they get calloused, okay? But we had a vision, okay, that we draft Kyle, We saw what he did early in the season. First game, huge punt return. Man, we got and then he muffs one. Okay? And then he gets injured and he's practicing and then we go to Buffalo, right? And whatever it was Robert and Amani. Like, I can relive this. I would rather not. We got to find somebody that we can trust back there. But I can't put that on Craig Aukerman when I see the amount of time that we spend catching punts. Like, we go through more jugs machines than anybody. Okay, I get it. We gotta make sure we take care of the ball. But I can't say that that's Craig Aukerman when I'm evaluating everything that we're doing.
Mike Vrabel, unmitigated disasters last year on special teams. Lose a game because they can't make a kick. Lose a game because they hit a snapper in the head. Can't return punts. Can't return kickoffs. I'm not even sure what they can do. Even in the last game against Jacksonville, they have all the momentum, and they kick the ball off, and Jamal Agnew takes the ball across the 45, and Jacksonville scores. So special teams is an unmitigated disaster, and everybody knows it, apparently except for Vrabel. Now, today, the Titans announced that they didn't just hire an assistant special teams coach to help out Craig Aukerman, but they hired 2 assistant special teams coaches. And I'm reading right from the email, the Tennessee Titans added Tom Quinn as special teams assistant and Anthony Levine as special teams assistant, as well as adding Matt Jones as the offensive line assistant. I don't think this is the Kentucky radio Matt Jones. Get your hands down, and Calipari says that we need to, that kind of thing. But it is Tom Quinn is the special teams assistant, and Anthony Levine is the special teams assistant. I mean, what the hell's going on? So Craig Aukerman has had terrible special teams since before Mike Vrabel got here. Like when Mike Mularkey was the coach, Craig Aukerman's special teams unit was an unmitigated disaster. And I was so hopeful that they would fire Craig Aukerman when they parted ways with Mike Mularkey, and they didn't. They kept him. And so I had to watch Cam Batson field a punt on Thursday Night Football and take a knee in the end zone and give you a safety. And I've had to watch every disaster after another, though they did block a kick to win a game against Kansas City in 2019, and they did block a kick against the Colts in 2019. Again, back when Lamar Jackson won the MVP 4 years ago. But it's just been bad. Even last year, Vrabel, we had a vision for Kyle Phillips to be our punt returner. Right. And then he muffed a punt inside the 10-yard line. Can't have that. Cannot have that. So now, the Titans, who throughout free agency have been nickel and diamond the whole thing, don't have a kicker, and they don't have a punt returner, and they don't have somebody to return kickoffs because Dontrell Hilliard did that last. Now, Haskins did it, but again, Dontrell Hilliard did that last year, and he's not on the team anymore. So no kicker, no punter, no kick returner, but they got 2 special teams assistants. Now, I am not a football coaching staff guru. I am not one to sit there and tell you, hey, you need an offensive coordinator to go with your passing game coordinator, to go with your running game coordinator. And we already made fun of the Titans when they released their new coaching staff, and they had pass game analyst, run game analyst, pass game coordinator, run game coordinator, taking a knee coordinator, we made fun of all that. What the hell you need 3 coaches to coach special teams? It's special teams. Like, you don't need 3 coaches. You only need 3 players that do special teams. Your kicker, your punter, and your long snapper. You don't need 3 coaches. And I do believe the Titans have a kicking coach. So that's 4. They got 4 special teams coaches. Mike, you don't need 4 coaches on special teams. You just need 1 good special teams coach that's not this bozo. That's it. So this year, every game, we're going to have the special teams report. And I'm going to need to know who to blame. So if it's a punt return issue, like the other team returns a good punt on the Titans, do we blame Tom Quinn? Do we blame Anthony Levine? Or do we blame the punter? Because we're not allowed to blame Craig Aukerman. And if they give up a kick return, is that the wedge guy's fault? Is that what are we doing here?
It's almost like a hockey coach situation here where someone's in charge of the penalty kill, power play, 3-on-3. So now special teams has kind of got it broken down.
So it's like special teams has its own coordinators now. So it's like you're the kicking coordinator and you're the punting coordinator and you're the kickoff return coordinator and you're the kickoff return coordinator and you're the punt return coordinator and you're the punting coordinator. Ready? Break. All right. What are we doing here? This is ridiculous. Just get the bozo out of here. I can't wait. You know what? Everybody knows I'm a Titans fan. I root for the Titans. God, I hope their special teams are terrible this year. I do. And we're gonna play that Vrabel clip every single day. 2 special teams assistant coaches. My God. What, really? Just get a good special teams coach. Oh, it drives me crazy. Also, what drives me crazy, this text from Clay and Gallatin drives me crazy. He said, now I know I'm going to get blasted here. You're right. So what's the plan? Tannehill is not going to get us to a Super Bowl, in my opinion. Willis is a long shot. So do we just hum along status quo and hope to get lucky? And based on your comments that you made, Patrick Mahomes would have made no difference last year in wins and losses. That comes from Allen. And that was me saying that Ryan Tannehill didn't cost you any of the 10 games that you lost. And there's a difference between somebody going out of their way and winning you a game and somebody losing you a game. When Randy Bullock misses a 47-yard kick, he lost you that game. Now, when the Broncos and Nathaniel Hackett thought it was a good idea to try, a 64-yard field goal against the Seahawks in week 1, that kicker did not lose them the game. There's a difference. And so if Ryan Tannehill throws 3 interceptions like he did against the Bengals in the playoffs, that's losing you the game. Ryan Tannehill didn't do that last year. Patrick Mahomes, shocking, I know. Patrick Mahomes wins more games for you than Ryan Tannehill will. Duh. And that's why Patrick Mahomes makes $20 million more per year. And that's why Patrick Mahomes is a 2-time league MVP. And that's why he's a 2-time Super Bowl champion and a 2-time Super Bowl MVP. And that is why Patrick Mahomes, if he retired today, would go to Canton. And if Ryan Tannehill retired today, he would go to Fort Lauderdale. It is because Patrick Mahomes is special. And right now, the position you're in, there's no way to get a special quarterback. We've been over every avenue. Lamar, in my opinion, is not that kind of special. He's good, but he's not Mahomes level special. Texter says, is there a limit to how many coaches or assistant coaches or analysts can be on staff? I doubt it. I'm sure there's not. Next year, maybe the Titans will get 2 more special teams coaches. Help out Craig Aukerman. He needs all the help he can get. Texter says, that's why we don't have any money for players. We are paying too many coaches on our team. I'm not exactly sure it works like that. But I will say this. They now have 3 offensive line coaches, and they didn't go out and get some experienced offensive line guru. No, they just promoted the guy that was already there. They got a pass game coordinator to go with their offensive coordinator. They've got a pass game analyst. They did have a run game analyst, but he left. So they got all kinds of the Titans should be the most well-coached team in the league. Now, I say all of that in jest, but Vrabel does do a good job coaching the team. Now, he has his flaws, and we go over them on a consistent basis. But Vrabel's a good coach. But the special teams, my goodness, I mean, just an embarrassment. 615-737-1025 is the phone number, 615-737-1025. The Titans let something happen yesterday that I have to believe they think is not a big deal. And let me just say this. It is a big deal. We'll get to that next. Stillman & Company, 1025-1063. By the way, let me tell all the fine folks out there, so I have to go to my email because I went to go look at that email from the Titans with the coaches. Let me tell everybody this week's Nashville's best deal of the week is Eastside Bowl in Madison. This week, get 2 hours of bowl plus shoe rentals for up to 6 people for just $45. That's 2 full hours of bowling plus shoes for up to 6 people for just $45 at Eastside Bowl in Madison. Go to theGameNashville.com/deals to get yours now.
All the big plays.
For the win! Yes! Vanderbilt wins it!
All the big stories.
Quarterback carousel. What the Titans decide to do at the quarterback position.
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
10% chance of making the playoffs.
Checkered flag is in the
team with incredible talent.
Every team in the league. The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
It's Quaz with Little Harvest, and I'm just having one of our Chicken Scratch American Pilsners. It's one refreshing beer and a good example of the German lagers that we craft right here in Nashville. Chicken Scratch is made with locally sourced raw white corn, giving it a subtle cornbready sweetness. And speaking of sweetness, Chicken Scratch's closest associate goes by the name of Deer Crossing Hellas, also a lager with a light, crisp body and golden color, and it won us a gold medal at the Great American Beer Festival. So be on the lookout for our craft lagers. And as always, thank you for supporting our little brewery.
Hey, it's Jared. Are you looking to move? If so, do yourself a favor and reach out to my friends at TriStar Moving. You can be assured your move will be stress-free because they've got new utility vans to help with pack jobs to separate your high-value or fragile items from the bulk of your furniture, and their movers are carefully picked and highly trained. No one in the game is doing this. TriStar Moving is raising the standard in the moving industry. When you're ready to move, give them a call. TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219, or online at nationalmoving.org/radio, and tell them Jared Stillman referred you for 10% off. That's TriStar Moving.
We do screen printing.
Music City Screen Prints.
We do embroidery.
Music City Screen Prints.
We do large format printing.
Music City Screen Prints.
We do promotional goods.
Music City Screen Prints.
We do graphic design.
Music City Screen Prints.
MCScreenprints.com. That's MCScreenprints with an S.com. 615-866-6010.
You think it, we print it.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
This week's Nashville's best deal is Eastside Bowl in Madison, a vintage bowling alley, music venue, diner, lounge, and arcade designed by locals for locals. And March 28th, don't miss the Battle of Nashville, Nashville's best Rage Against the Machine tribute band. Right now, you can get 2 hours of bowling plus shoe rentals for up to 6 people for just $45. That's 2 hours of bowling plus shoes for up to 6 people, just $45. Go to thegamenashville.com/deals to get yours now.
Now, your Game Center update.
This Game Center update is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. The Tennessee Titans officially announced the first 5 signings of their free agent class on Monday. Among them was defensive lineman Arden Key, who played for AFC South rival Jacksonville last season. Key talked about leaving the Jags for the Titans.
With Jacksonville, it was a shock to me. I ain't gonna lie. After the year, I thought I was gonna be a Jacksonville Jaguar, but I felt disrespected because I came over there, built up the culture, brought a whole lot of energy, changed the city, changed the town. I felt like I was in my rightful mind. I was gonna be a Jacksonville Jaguar, but that didn't happen. I still love the players, love the teammates, love the city, love the fans, but yeah, we gotta see them twice.
The Nashville Predators are back in action tonight as they face off versus the Buffalo Sabres. Defenseman Ryan McDonough is a game-time decision after missing the last 4 games. Pre-game starts at 5 with puck drop at 6, right here on the Preds Radio Network. This update is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. I'm Ian Safar for 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
A gunny performance. Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead. The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to Superbook Sports, live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. You know, we got off the air yesterday, and I immediately went into women's basketball. Louisville was playing last night. By the way, we beat the crap out of Texas last night. I mean, we ended up winning by 20-something. But it was more like a 30-something game. I mean, we embarrassed them on their home court.
Saw it got a little spicy afterwards in the handshake line.
I did find out what that was about, and It was as stupid as you would think it was.
Okay.
But I'll tell you, I was enjoying myself. Good show yesterday, off the air, 6 o'clock, women's basketball. We're beating the crap out of Texas. And all of a sudden on Twitter, I see something. Josh Dobbs signing for 1 year with the Cleveland Browns. And I shot up off the couch when I saw that. And I said, what? Josh Dobbs, a 1-year deal to Cleveland. Now, it was his agent who was the one who put the tweet out there announcing it, and he didn't include money. And when the agent doesn't include money and how much somebody signed for, truth is, it's not a lot. So 1 year for Josh Dobbs. My guess is it's under $2 million. In fact, I would not be surprised if Josh Dobbs ended up signing for the league minimum, and I could be wrong on this, but $1.16 million. I would not be surprised. And I thought to myself, well, who's going to be the backup for the Titans? Because Josh Dobbs is not good enough to start. You know, people would say that, oh, what about starting Dobbs? And he turns the ball over too much. Turned the ball over 4 times in 2 games. Including 2 that were absolutely deadly in the can't-have-a moments in a gotta-have-it game. So Josh Dobbs is not a starter in the NFL. But what Josh Dobbs showed in those 2 starts against Dallas and Jacksonville is he'd be a great backup to Ryan Tannehill. And so yesterday, I was outraged when I saw that the Titans decided not to bring Josh Dobbs back. And I think a lot of people are going to say, outraged, that's too strong of a word, Jared. Like, it's a backup quarterback. It's not that big of a deal. To which I would say, it is very much a big deal. Because I'm asking again, who's the backup quarterback? This isn't like running back, where you have 3 guys behind Derrick Henry, and if Derrick Henry gets hurt, you may be able to go out and find a Deontay Foreman and stick him in there and be okay. This isn't like kicker where you can change it every week. This is quarterback. And last year, had Josh Dobbs been on your team the whole season, you probably would have made the playoffs because you probably would have beaten the Chiefs, and Dobbs would have known your roster more, and you probably wouldn't have rushed Tannehill back and everything else. So why did they let him go? Why did they not re-sign him? And the options for me about why not to re-sign Josh Dobbs are threefold. And 2 of them, they've already screwed up. The first reason to not re-sign Josh Dobbs would be if you were going to sign a better backup quarterback. You were going to say Tannehill's going to be 35 years old this year, coming off of an ankle injury. Now, he should be fine. He had the tightrope surgery, and a sprained ankle is not the end of the world. But let's be careful with a 35-year-old quarterback. We still want to get Malik Willis some reps in practice, so we want a veteran guy who doesn't need to practice much. We'll bring him in here, and he's going to be the backup to Tannehill. But all those guys are signed now, so that door is shut. So you can't do that. The second thing would be that you think Malik Willis is good enough to be the backup quarterback. And let me just tell you this. Everybody and their grandma knows that Malik Willis is not good enough or ready to be the backup quarterback of the Titans. And I kept saying that last year when Malik was out there. And I said, he's the future of this team. The future backup. Maybe. But even last year when he was your backup, he was not good enough to be a backup in the NFL. And everybody knows it. I was yelling it to you during training camp. I mean, I watched him go out there in a 2-minute drill against the Arizona Cardinals and throw the ball away on 4th down. I mean, I'm all for throwing the ball away and not throwing it into traffic and being intercepted, but not in a 2-minute drill and not on 4th down. I mean, that's high school stuff. And Malik was horrible when he had to go in there this past season. And his attitude was awful. And so everybody knows that Malik Willis is not ready to be the backup quarterback of the Titans. In fact, the coach knows it when he went out there and he essentially benched Malik Willis for the last 2 weeks of the season. He did it on purpose because he knew he couldn't win with Malik. And so now you're going to try to convince me that Malik is going to be the backup? No. The third reason why I could see them letting Josh Dobbs go, but there's no guarantee in this, is if you are going to draft a quarterback this year. That's the only other thing I could come up with, is if you are convinced today that you are going to draft a quarterback, then I could see you saying, okay, like how Indianapolis right now has Gardner Minshew. He might be their starter. He might be their backup. But they know that they've got him, and they probably think they're going to draft a quarterback. Now, I don't know what the Chiefs did. I know that Alex Smith was their starter, and Nick Foles was their backup, and then they drafted Patrick Mahomes, and when they drafted Patrick Mahomes and they sat him on the bench, they turned around and Nick Foles ended up on the Eagles. And we all know how that went down. So I don't know if like they released Foles the day after they drafted Mahomes, or if they didn't re-sign Foles and they just didn't have a backup and then they drafted Mahomes. I don't know. But that's the only logical explanation that could be that we could have for the Titans not keeping Josh Dobbs. Josh Dobbs played great as a backup quarterback in the 2 games he was asked to play. Now, I don't think Josh Dobbs has anything more of a ceiling than being a backup quarterback. But I certainly think he's a backup quarterback, and I think he's a good backup quarterback. I think he plays the similar style to Tannehill. He fits your offense. He's athletic, but he's not a runner. He's obviously very smart. You know, other than fumbling the ball at the end of the Jacksonville game and that horrendous decision to throw that long pass down the field where he got hit on the interception intended on the left sideline for Burks. Other than that, Dobbs was great in that Jacksonville game. I mean, Dobbs took them right down the field in the first half and was scoring touchdowns, and honestly gave me belief that if they had won that game, they were going to beat the Chargers. I thought Dobbs was, mwah. I thought he was beautiful until the turnovers. And I thought he was great against Cowboys, too. But the only thing I can think of is that the Titans are thinking, well, this isn't a big deal. It is a big deal. Backup quarterback is a big deal. It's not a big deal if your starting quarterback never gets hurt, which is the approach the Titans took for the previous 3 years. Mariota leaves, Logan Woodside's the backup, and at first the Titans did kind of take it seriously because they brought in Trevor Siemian to compete with Logan Woodside, and he lost. Then, the next year, they didn't really care about it much, but they did bring in Matt Barkley to compete with Logan Woodside, and he lost, and so Logan Woodside was the backup. Then last year, they drafted Malik, and Logan Woodside was horrendous in training camp. Now, I'm not going to hold that against Logan, but he might just suck. But he never had to play in the previous 2 years. When Malik had to go in there, and I kept telling you all, he is not ready to go in an NFL game. He's not ready. And sometimes I think when you say that, or when I say that, you all might assume that there's an assumption that he's not ready means that one day he will be ready. And I'm not convinced of that with Malik Willis. But he's definitely not ready right now. Malik Willis should not be the backup of this team. And so all I can think of is, one, they either should have signed somebody else if it wasn't going to be Dobbs to be the backup quarterback, which they didn't do, so bad on them. They're going to go with Willis as the backup, which bad on them. Or they're going to draft a quarterback high this year, and that guy will be the backup to Tannehill. and unlike Willis, won't stink. That's all I can come up with. But it's like the Kevin Byard pay cut thing. Why are you asking Kevin Byard to take a pay cut? Is he not good enough? No, he is. Why are you doing it? You're just trying to alienate him? What, are you going to cut him? Why are you doing it? And that's how I feel about this. Why'd you let Josh Dobbs go? I mean, you're giving Aaron Brewer $4.5 million next year. Why'd you let Josh Dobbs go? I mean, it's ridiculous. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. If you want to weigh in, somebody just said that he got guaranteed $2 million and the number 2 role. I'd guarantee him $2 million in the number 2 role. Now, if I draft the quarterback, then I'm not going to be able to do that. But I'm telling you right now, I would not have let Josh Dobbs walk out of there if my option is Malik as the backup quarterback. 615-737-1025. There is one name that never gets mentioned. The Titans are not going to be able to draft one of the 4 quarterbacks. But there's a name that never gets mentioned, and the Titans will be able to draft him. And we'll get to that next. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Later this hour, we will be giving away a pair of passes to the Preds Wine Festival. So be excited about that. And Preds fans, do not miss tomorrow night's Smashville Live at Brew House South in Cool Springs, starting at 6 o'clock. See your Predators star players up close and personal, plus get autographs and pictures. Preds player guests are Alexander Carrier and Jeremy Lazan. Smashville Live is brought to you by Spring Ale Heating and Cooling, Little Harpeth Beer, Superbook Sports, and Dulce Vita Tequila, pure and simple.
Every Wednesday at 8:30. Come on. Join Robbie and Rexroad for The Choice is Yours.
2 sports questions, 2 non-sports questions.
They'll answer a couple of questions about life and sports. The Choice is Yours is built by Jarrett Companies. You have a choice. So when you have a need for site and utility work, fire protection, concrete and asphalt services, the choice is simple. It's Jarrett Companies. For more, visit JarrettCompaniesInc.com. The Choice is Yours. Wednesdays at 8:30 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Middle Tennessee, you can count on an award-winning service team for all your home maintenance and improvement needs. Lee Company, we're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and trusted by thousands of homeowners in our community. Our team is ready to assist with all your home maintenance projects, heating and air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, appliance service, and more. Experience the convenience of calling one phone number for all your home maintenance needs. Call Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
The Nashville Sounds are back in Hit City for baseball season. Join us at First Horizon Park, March 31st for opening day as the Sounds take on the Louisville Bats. Stick around for post-game fireworks Friday or family fun all weekend. Tickets are available now at NashvilleSounds.com.
Ever tried to shop for a diamond online? They all look great on the computer screen, but the fact is, most reputable jewelers like Genesis Diamonds wouldn't touch them with a 10-foot pole.
These are the diamonds that nobody wants to buy. We call them the B-quality diamonds.
That's Genesis owner Boaz Ramon, who says that even diamonds with the same grade and specs on paper can be very different when you see them up close in person, especially the ones from online dealers.
Those diamonds gonna look always cloudy or dirty. It's like you're wearing your glasses and there is fingerprints all over the glass. You just don't understand, or nobody told you that the material that this diamond was cut from was not the best material.
Why risk it? At Genesis Diamonds, they screen thousands of diamonds and only choose the best of the best for maximum brilliance, sparkle, and luster. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
I'm Boaz Ramon, and my accent is always on value.
What if you could be credit card debt-free in 10 days and save as much as $1,000 a month? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Hey, Willie Donick here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low monthly payment. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days. And a $50,000 loan would only cost you around $400 a month. Use that money to pay off high-interest credit cards or do a home improvement. You can access up to 90% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Stop the madness and say no to 24% interest fees, Call Loan Pronto today. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Want to weigh in on the conversation? It's a brain booster. Slide into our DMs. Or just text or call at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You're listening to Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The number 3 quarterback in the Chris Sims quarterback draft ranking is
Hendon Hooker. Why is this guy not getting more buzz? What is there not to like? I know he tore his ACL, all right? But this is not Michael Vick, right? I mean, okay, maybe he's not ready for week 1, whatever. Again, going off the film is what I'm doing. And all I know is I saw a really good-looking, like, on-the-money, pocket-passing quarterback who makes great decisions and, like C.J. Stroud, is way more athletic than people are giving him credit for. And, you know, even where he might be even better than C.J. Stroud and definitely better than Bryce Young is his ability to see over the line and throw over the line. He had the most amount of throws of people in his face, and I'm just going to throw the 10-yard in cut over them. I don't care, right? Totally unaffected by the pass rush. That's where I give him tons of credit. But, you know, one, decision-making, sure. It's another one where I'd go, it's really off the charts good. You know, 2, the amount of NFL high-level throws. So that's where I loved Hendon Hooker.
There you go. That was Chris Sims. And he was like, I love Hendon Hooker. So, you know, C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, 1, 2. And I don't know how he had him ranked. But he's got Hendon Hooker 3. Hendon Hooker clearly had a better season than Will Levis and Anthony Richardson. Now, the Titans have let Josh Dobbs go back to Cleveland, which I think is ridiculous, and so they don't have a backup quarterback. Well, maybe they could target a quarterback in the draft. And as far as I'm concerned, there's 5 guys. And the Titans do not have a chance at landing one of the top 4. Stroud's going number 1. Young's going number 2. I don't know if a quarterback is going to go number 3. I think a quarterback will go number 3. I think Arizona is going to trade that pick. But if a quarterback doesn't go 3, then a quarterback is going to go 4 and 5. So all 4 guys are going to be gone by the first 5 picks in the draft, which means there's 1 guy left. Now let's start with Hendon Hooker before we get to where the Titans could reasonably draft him, because I think the 11th overall pick is too high for Hooker. Hendon Hooker is kind of a dented can. He is on the clearance rack because not only does he have an ACL injury, but he's also 26 years old or going to be 26 years old next year. And so he's not going to be with these other quarterbacks. But in college football this year, Hendon Hooker, in my opinion, was the best quarterback. On top of it, Hendon Hooker's got the size. Hendon Hooker's got the athleticism. Hendon Hooker has the arm strength. Hendon Hooker is coachable. Hendon Hooker is a great leader. So he's got a lot of things going for him. He also showed that he can play well in big games. Hendon Hooker's got a lot going for him. He's got 2 things that are bad: his age and his knee. But a torn ACL is not like Caleb Farley having back surgery. It's a torn ACL. They happen all the time. People come back just fine. And I was taken back to Hendon Hooker in the middle of the college football season. And what the people were saying then, when week in and week out, Hendon Hooker was putting on a show for Tennessee. And this is what Joel Klatt said in October. Fox's #1 college football analyst was asked by Colin Cowherd, what does he think of Hendon Hooker? And here's what Joel Klatt was saying in October.
So for me, I always look at from a quarterback perspective, can you make the layups, and then can you also go above the X's and O's, right? So, like, you can't – see, there are times when you evaluate a quarterback and you're like, man, he just makes easy throws look hard, but then he makes hard throws look easy. I don't want that type of guy. I want a guy that makes the layups and then makes it look easy when he's going down the field and doing things that you just can't coach. This throw that you're seeing on your screen right here, that ball traveled 55 yards in the air, which is unprecedented. That doesn't happen. Mahomes doesn't do that. And the wide receiver never broke stride, right? So, like, the talent is there, but he's also doing things just in the normal course of football.
Oh, my God, he's got a whip.
The seam throws, that is a great player, and I think he absolutely is playing himself into the top 10, top 5 in the NFL draft.
Okay, if he's playing himself into the top 5 of the draft and he tears his ACL, that should not take him that far out of the top 5. By the way, I really could have used that clip without Cowherd making sex noises there in the background. But I go back to Hooker, and now the Titans. The 11th overall pick is too rich for Hendon Hooker. And this is where you have to evaluate this properly. I believe Hendon Hooker is going in the first round of this year's draft. And I know Mel Kiper just put out a mock draft today, and he doesn't have Hendon Hooker going in the first round. And I know the knee injury, and I'm telling you, I think Hendon Hooker is going in the first round. But then, if you're the Titans, how do you do the math accordingly? How do you get down to a spot where you could pick Hendon Hooker? And you could almost feel comfortable that you're going to get Hendon Hooker, but that you could also live without getting Hendon Hooker. And I went back and I looked at trades in which the picks where the Titans ended up picking where they were kind of seated, right? And I think if, let's say you move to 20, and 20 feels like the safe spot because there will still be some tackles available in this draft at 20, whether it's Darnell Wright or DeJuan Jones out of Ohio State. There are still going to be some tackles available there. TD says this draft is loaded with interior offensive linemen, and that's good because you need interior offensive linemen. And it looks like that's where the receivers are going to go. Mel Kiper just had a mock draft that came out today, and all of the receivers in Mel's mock draft start at 20 and go from there. So he's got, Jackson Smith and Jigba at 20, Zay Flowers from Boston College at the Ravens at 22, Quentin Johnston, TCU at 23, Jordan Addison, USC at 25. So if you trade from 11 to 20, and let's say Hendon Hooker's gone, then you can still get your receiver, probably with that pick, or get a tackle with that pick. And what you would get by moving from 11 to 20, it'll vary, and it depends on how bad that team would want that pick at that time. But what you would most likely get if you're going off the 2017 trade between Kansas City and Buffalo, the 2017 trade between Cleveland and Houston, the 2021 trade between Chicago and the Giants, or even the 2019 trade with Pittsburgh and Denver, you're definitely going to get this year's one when you trade from 11 to 20. Most likely you're going to get next year's one, and you're probably going to get a fourth-round pick on top of that. So most likely a fourth in this year's draft, or if you do it like Pittsburgh and Denver did when Pittsburgh traded up to 10 in order to draft Deion Bush in 2019, you can go ahead and get the first-round pick, plus you can get a second and a third next year. So you would get a second in this year's draft and a third in next year's draft. So even if Hendon Hooker doesn't pan out and you use that 20th overall pick on him, if he doesn't pan out, you still gain the extra second-round pick, which will be a player that will help you this year, and the extra third-round pick next year, or the extra first-round pick next year, whatever it may be. And so I think if you're the Titans, I think that Hendon Hooker should be a part of the equation because you hear Derek talk all the time about the idea of they got to go up and get their quarterback. They've got to get their quarterback of the future. They've got to find their guy. They've got to. And I go back to October, and I say, what has changed between now and then with Hendon Hooker? When Joel Klatt said he's a top 5 pick in the draft, when Mel Kiper said he was a first-round pick, when he was on TV every week lighting up the scoreboard, he still has the size, he still has the athleticism, he's still a good leader, he still played well in the Alabama game. It's an ACL. It's not a heart issue. What changed? He tore his ACL. Now, I do think there are questions about him as a system quarterback. Did Josh Heupel make Hendon Hooker, Or will we see this year with Joe Milton at quarterback that Hendon Hooker made Josh Heupel? I don't know the answer to that. But I wouldn't rule out Hendon Hooker. And I do think Hendon Hooker's going in the first round this year. I think that even if it's a team that trades their first in next year's draft to move back into the first round this year in order to draft him, because with that quarterback, you get that 5th year. And the Titans, I think, would be a good spot. Because if you draft Hooker coming off the knee injury, now he told Outkick 360 at the Super Bowl, I'll be ready for training camp. But I don't need him ready for training camp. He comes back, Tannehill's the starter. Hendon Hooker's on the bench. But I like it that way. 615-737-1025. We'll get to your phones on all this. The Titans backup quarterback situation. Josh Dobbs out. Now there's a giant empty space. And, I'm throwing the Hendon Hooker thing. There is one thing that I am going to tell you right now is not going to happen. Not going to happen if I'm in charge. We'll get to that next here on Stillman & Company. 615-737-1025. Stillman & Company, 1025, 1063 The Game.
Want a chance to win tickets to an upcoming Preds game?
Yes.
Tune in to Robbie and Rexroad every weekday Preds game day at 8:45 for Preds Pick to Click. Guess a goal scorer and win.
I'll take Roman Yost.
Matt Duchene.
Pick to Click is brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they are referred so often. And by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today.
Preds Pick to Click.
We are 1025 and 1063 The Game.
Spring in and style up with huge savings on top athletic brands at your Dick's Sporting Goods warehouse sales store in Franklin. Stay active this spring with up to 70% off the athletic styles you love. Shop deals on thousands of styles from top athletic apparel and footwear brands like $10 tees, tanks, and shorts for the family, $20 swimwear, $20 golf polos, and running footwear for $60 or less. Find incredible deals and incredible style at your Dick's Sporting Goods warehouse sales store in Franklin at Watson Glen.
It's the Electronic Express Famous Half Price Fair. This week only, save up to 50% in every department, including all 4K TVs, appliances, laptops and tablets, speakers, and more. You'll not find a lower price anywhere. We guarantee it. The Famous Half Price Fair. It's first come, first served. Sale ends Saturday at 9 p.m. Hurry into any of our convenient locations. Plus, get up to 3 years free financing. The Electronic Express Famous Half Price Fair ends this Saturday at 9 p.m.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks has you covered for Lent. Try the fish and chips bundled with our 22-ounce draft for a steal on Fridays, or reel in one of our other seafood options like blackened fish tacos, shrimp Caesar, and char-grilled salmon. Join the Nashville Area Chamber of Commerce April 3rd through 6th for an exclusive look into what makes Nashville the IT city. Whether you're new to town or a Nashville native, Intro Nashville gives you the opportunity to become engaged and connected to our city's community. During this multi-day immersive program, you'll hear from over 20 community leaders and industry experts whose storytelling unlocks a comprehensive view of our city and region. Gain historical and economic perspective on Nashville while establishing relationships with local business leaders. Register now at intronash.com.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No. We tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our client's best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep. We have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
1025 and 1063 The Game is live and local.
And now, let's meet the starting lineups.
Robbie and Text Road 6 to 9.
You are talking about a team that's building a roster.
Jason Michelle 9 to 11.
He's still under contract.
It's not always X's and O's.
Caroline, Willie, and D Mace 11 to 2.
Trades, free agents.
Let's get it going. I think this is a good hire.
And Stillman and Company 2 to 6.
I can give you one of the best coaches in the league.
And don't forget, we're your home for all things Nashville.
He scored!
Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Hey Nashville, I'm Gary Smith, head coach of Nashville SC. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 The Game.
The one thing that I talked to Malik about was just continue to grow as a quarterback. And that's not just throwing the ball, that's not, all these different things, but quarterback is so much more mental than it is physical. And I think, from that standpoint, I just, taught him about being able to lead the locker room, being able to have that presence, and continuing just to, reach out to some of the greats in our game and guys that'll help him. So we've been able to connect, and he's reached out to, other quarterbacks in the league to kind of serve as mentors for him, which kind of shows, who he is as a person and where he sees himself and where he wants to go.
I would love to know, by the way, what quarterbacks Malik Willis is reaching out to mentor. And not to say, again, it's not Tannehill's job to mentor Malik Willis. It's Tannehill's job to win. But why not Tannehill? Like, is Tannehill a bad example? And that's why Rand Carthon says, hey, you need to reach out to, here's the list. And he's looking like, okay, Daniel Jones, let's see, Baker Mayfield. Like, these are the guys you need to reach out to because Tannehill, he's not a good enough leader. I find that all to be fascinating. But let me say this. With Josh Dobbs going on his merry way to Cleveland, and with the Titans not having a real option right now as the backup quarterback, I'm sure many of you are assuming that Malik Willis is going to be the backup for the Titans again this year. And I think a lot of you that want this to be true are probably assuming that Malik Willis is going to be good enough to be the backup quarterback for the Titans this upcoming season. Now, let me say this. If I got to vote on this, no. Malik Willis is not an option to be the backup quarterback for the Titans. And sometimes I hate having to say things out loud because it feels to others as if this is a personal attack. This is not a personal attack. This is all business. This is all football. He stinks. He stinks. And when you saw him play quarterback against the Texans last year, and then the next week, Josh Dobbs signed off the Lions practice squad from Sheboygan comes in here and looks like a reasonable quarterback, it's obvious how far back Malik is. And there's a lot of people that probably want to assume, oh, well, this will be Malik's second year. So now that he has the experience of last year, he'll be ready to be the backup. Maybe, but I'm not going to go into the season assuming that to be true. You all went into the season, and they went into the season last year assuming that it would be true that Malik Willis could play quarterback if he had to. And I said after watching training camp, no. And everybody's like, oh, no, you don't get it. He's playing with all backups out there in the preseason. That's why he looks like crap. And I'm like, or because he's not very good. So, I mean, again, if I had a say in this, if this were a full collaboration and Jared got to do some collaborating, Malik Willis is not an option to be the primary backup quarterback. Now, Ian, you were chuckling during the break. You said that you want Malik Willis to be the backup quarterback next year.
Oh, just for entertainment purposes only, yeah.
Does that entertainment have to do with me, or is that
Yes,
just
it
how
does.
bad it's going to be?
No, mostly just to hear you complain about it for a little while.
I mean, I won't complain about it if Tannehill stays healthy next year. But if Malik has to go out there and Malik looks anything like he looked last year, oh, I'll be yelling and screaming. Vrabel knows it. He benched him last year. They got down to those last two games. Half of you were out there saying we should lose them on purpose for draft seeding. And Vrabel was like, nah, you're out because you stink. And now Vrabel's going to put his faith in him again? No, he stinks. He stinks. They should call him Mustinks because he stinks. 615-737-1025 is our phone number if you want to weigh in, 615-737-1025. Apparently, Josh Dobbs, phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. Apparently, Josh Dobbs was on the ESPN affiliate in Cleveland this morning. I have no idea if that's true or not. And apparently he basically said that he chose the Browns over the Titans because they have a far better roster. Well, again, I was told that Dobbs signed, and I'm sure this is public info, signed a $2 million guaranteed contract, which I'm not sure I would have given him, but if I had to, I probably would have, especially if I'm going to give Aaron Brewer $4.5 million. But my guess is it probably came down to that. Now, what I want to know is Cleveland using the same salary cap the Titans are? Because the Titans are paying $27 million to their quarterback, and everybody thinks they might release him anyways. And Cleveland's paying $46 million to their quarterback, and they just guaranteed Josh Dobbs $2 million. So is Cleveland using the same salary cap as the Titans next year? Because I said Cleveland keeps signing guys and keeps trading for guys and keeps restructuring contracts with guys. And, I mean, man. Andrew says, I believe the Titans are okay with having the worst quarterback in the NFL as the backup because they can try to win with Tannehill, and if Tannehill gets hurt, they can try to tank without looking like they're tanking. I do wonder if that's, and I know that this isn't what the Titans did in 2015, but I'm sure it didn't hurt that at the end of the season, and Mariota had been dinged a couple of times with a knee injury, because the offensive line, you thought it was bad last year. It was just as bad in 2015, and Wisenhunt's system was horrendous, and it was just awful. And so Marcus got hurt late in December when the Titans were competing for the number one pick. And the Titans went out there with Zach Mettenberger at quarterback, and Mettenberger looked more like an NFL quarterback than Malik, but probably sucked about the same. And the Titans just kept putting him out there, and it was almost like you look back on it and you say, you know, could they have gotten the number one pick that year and then that trade with the Rams that yielded Corey Davis and Jack Conklin and Derrick Henry and Jonnu Smith? Could they have done that without Zach Mettenberger's help? Maybe not. And they had to lose to Josh Freeman, signed off the street that week by the Colts in the last game of the season in order to get that number one pick. So maybe they couldn't have. But I don't see Vrabel ever trying to lose on purpose. And I hear a lot of talk about tanking. And I hear a lot of talk about, you know, ownership, take a couple steps back, be ready to go when you enter the new stadium. And I hear Derek talk about how they need to move off of Kevin Byard and Derrick Henry because those guys are making too much money and the team's not going to be good, so you might as well get rid of those. And I hear all that, and I'm like, Mike Vrabel is not signing up to lose. That's the one thing that I know in my heart is that Mike Vrabel is never going to sign up to lose. Even if they sat him down and they said, kind of like how we talk about the Preds, and said, hey, got to take a step back to take a step forward. And I think Vrabel would be like, no, we're not doing that. Because I just can't see him putting in the hours that he has to put in when he's got the money that he's got in order to say, well, we're not going to try to win. I can't see it. Maybe you guys know Vrabel differently than I do, but I could not see Mike Vrabel signing up to lose. And apparently he's an equal partner now in all of this, which means his opinion counts. And he knows Malik stinks. Texter says, surely the Titans have a plan that is more than Malik at backup to Ryan Tannehill. They have to have another move coming. I thought that last year. I went to training camp, and I was like, there is no way this guy is going to be the backup quarterback of the Titans. And I'll be damned. Sunday Night Football. We were like talking about it. I'm like, if Tannehill sprains an ankle and he's your backup, he has to go out there. And sure enough, Sunday Night Football at Kansas City in overtime, down by 3, 2-minute drill. Here's Malik. 615-737-1025. Oftentimes, I don't sit there and say, the media says, because I'm a part of the media, but the basketball Benny media, especially at ESPN, they are convinced that they know more than everything else about one particular subject. And this one particular subject, I think, is fair game. We'll get to that next. All right, let's give away some tickets to the Preds Wine Festival and Tasting at Bridgestone Arena on March 30th. Be caller 5 right now at 615-737-1025, and you will win a pair of tickets to the Nashville Predators Wine Festival and Tasting at Bridgestone Arena on March 30th. It'll feature more than 300 higher-end wines, beers, and spirits, food samplings from local restaurants, and an extensive silent auction. Tickets are available at nationalpredators.com/wine.
The crowd is standing on its feet. It's in the hole! It's in the hole!
Join 1025 The Game for the second annual Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament, benefiting Souls for Souls, June 7th at Hermitage Golf Course. Put your team together and come play with athletes, musicians, and other local celebs.
Be the ball.
Support a great cause and have loads of fun. Plus, you'll have the chance to win awesome prizes. Sign up to play, sponsor, or donate at theGameNashville.com/golf.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormonal deficiencies and imbalances. And Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve your quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit our website at coolspringsmd.com.
Predators fans, Brewhouse South in Cool Springs and Brewhouse Highway 100 in Bellevue is your home for hockey action all season. They are Predators approved. All games are on, and they're even gonna give you the sound. Get awesome game day drink specials. When you think hockey, think Brewhouse South on Galleria Boulevard in Cool Springs or Brewhouse Highway 100 in Bellevue. Go Preds!
For one day only, Saturday, March 25th, get 5+ acres and a new cabin package on sale for only $69.9 during the Nashville Acreage Grand Opening Land Sale. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get the best of both worlds. Flat, usable, prime Nashville acreage with the biggest and most spectacular ridgeline views in the entire Nashville area. Priced below market prices. Come explore this recreational paradise and make your dreams of owning exceptional Nashville acreage a reality for less. With 5+ acres and a new cabin package for just $69.9. Best of all, these properties include first-class infrastructure like county water, electric, and county road frontage. All huge advantages in today's market. Appointment times are filling up fast. Call now to book your private tour. 615-437-6348. That's 615-437-6348. Cabin kit package for materials only. Delivered to site by third party. Taxes and delivery not included. Price is subject to change without notice or obligation. Call for complete details. An equal housing opportunity.
Men, this is Evan Bass with the Tennessee Men's Clinic, and I've been helping men with sexual health issues for many years. I've seen the pain and anxiety that men walk into the clinic with when erectile dysfunction is affecting them. And I also know the heartache and difficulty it can bring to their partner. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've been successfully treating men for ED for many years now. We've seen the amazing impacts that those treatments have on a man's confidence and positivity. And we've seen the wonderful things those treatments also do for a man's relationship. That's why I'm pleased to announce that we are now offering the same great services we offer at our Nashville clinic at our new location in Franklin, which will make it much more convenient for those men living south of Nashville to get treated. So call us today and book your appointment at our Midtown location or at our new clinic in Cool Springs. Your first visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090. That's 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments, extra results vary.
A show that lives and breathes sports.
Focus in, focus in, focus in.
From the SEC.
Credit to the Alabamas, the Georgias, and the Ohio States of the world.
To the Preds.
They've been in a lot of really tight games, but they're not winning enough of them.
To the Titans.
He's talking about what this franchise has built over the years.
Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace.
What is this? Check it out.
Weekdays from 11 to 2 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
For the Big Blue Nation, it's a basketball game.
Yeah,
so if you're feeling like I'm feeling right now, that's it. That's all I have.
Yeah, I don't buy that. I mean, I agree with you. I appreciate that. I mean, if it is a basketball game, but what makes Kentucky Kentucky is that we care. The moment we start saying we shouldn't care or, well, it's just a basketball game, then why, what's the point? Now, do I think people should lose their minds over this stuff? Of course not. Like, you have to have perspective. Like, we're going to laugh and have fun on our way to Beckley. At the same time, it matters. That's why we're Kentucky. The moment it stops mattering, it's not Kentucky. And
then you're every other fan base.
Exactly, and I don't want to see us get to that. I've seen a lot of our younger fans on social media who take UK very seriously sort of act like, well, you lose, and sometimes that happens. Well, yeah, but no. I mean, this is Kentucky, and there's a standard here, and I don't think that standard has been met the last few years.
Matt Jones on Kentucky Sports Radio saying, no, none of that loser talk. None of it's just a basketball game, and it shouldn't be at Kentucky. Now, when I lived there, it wasn't just a basketball game. I mean, come on now. And so it's funny. Caroline texted me on Sunday, and she was like, after Kentucky lost, and she said, I was the biggest Kansas State fan today. And here I am. I went to Louisville, and I'm sitting here thinking, I was rooting for Kentucky to win. And I don't know why. You know, I've told you, my dad hates Tennessee. Now, my dad and I grew up watching the Vols, rooting against the Vols every Saturday. And after Tennessee beat Alabama, which my dad absolutely, positively did not want to see, after that happened, he said to me, you know, it's good for Tennessee to win a game like this every now and then because it makes hating them more fun when they're good. I'm like, that's what I've been saying for years, that it's been time for Tennessee to get back to the top of college football so that their fans can be as obnoxious as they are at their peak, and it can reset back to why everybody feels the way they feel about the Vols. And maybe I feel that internally about Kentucky. But I am sitting here watching 3 seasons in a row in which Kentucky has not gotten to the Sweet 16, and I'm like, that's not good enough for Kentucky. Now, they're not going to fire Cal because he's got the quote-unquote lifetime contract and they owe him too much money. But after next season, they're going to have to raise that money to get him out if he can't win. Well, the basketball bennies on TV have decided that we are not ever allowed to criticize John Calipari, and we are not ever allowed to think that anybody else could do that job. Seth Greenberg, we played the cuts yesterday. Seth Greenberg, right after the game, was on with me, and he was like offended. Ian, would you say offended is the right word?
I don't know about offended, but he was trying to stick up for his coaching kind of circles, I think.
I mean, he was flummoxed.
He was not having it, really.
At the idea that I could be saying that there should be pressure on Calipari. And he did the whole, who are you going to hire? Because that's what everybody loves to do. Who are you going to hire? And then every time he brings someone, he's not good enough. And I said Nate Oates or Eric Musselman. And Seth Greenberg was like, they haven't been to 5 Final Fours. They've been coaching long enough to go to 5 Final Fours like that. But I digress. Jay Billis on ESPN was asked about Kentucky and whether or not the fans in Lexington should get their way on Calipari.
Should Kentucky start thinking about making a change when it comes to Coach Cal?
I can't imagine that they would do that. That to me would be ludicrous. You know, Cal has a record in the tournament of, I think, 72-15. That's right at the top of the list among the greatest coaches. And that to me would be ludicrous. But you know, Kentucky fans can do whatever they want. It's their call.
Again, another ESPN basketball Benny media guy sticking their nose up saying, I mean, that would be crazy. Why? Why would it be crazy for John Calipari to be fired at Kentucky? Now, I don't think they're going to do it just because of the money. But I said this yesterday. I believe that if Cal didn't have the contract that he has, I believe he'd either be red hot on the hot seat or he'd be fired after what happened the other day. I mean, this is not Kentucky basketball. And I said this, you know, around the country. I said, look, in New York, when the Knicks fire a coach because they don't win, everybody gets it. When the Dallas Cowboys fire a coach because they don't win, everybody gets it. But with Kentucky, you think it's different. It's not. I mean, they care about Kentucky basketball more than people in Nashville care about the Titans. I'm just telling you that. I've lived in both places. I'm just telling you. And at Kentucky, the reason that you get paid $10 million a year like a football coach is because basketball matters. And Cal's not winning. Now, he's got the number 1 recruiting class in the country, and that has always kind of been Cal's thing, is give me the good recruits. Well, we'll give you the good recruits this year, and let's see. But I'm telling you right now, if it wasn't about the money, I'd probably fire him after what happened on Sunday. And even with the money, I would definitely fire him if it happens again next year. And the basketball bennies should not. How dare you think Eric Musselman? Let's just use this comparison. Eric Musselman at Arkansas, he's doing a great job. He's been to 3 straight Sweet 16s. He just beat a 1 seed in Kansas. He beat a 1 seed in Gonzaga in San Francisco last year in the Sweet 16. Eric Musselman has been to back-to-back Elite Eights. If they win on Thursday night against UConn, it'll be 3 straight Elite Eights. Meanwhile, Cal didn't make the tournament, lost in the first round, lost in the second round. If Eric Musselman can do that at Arkansas and can recruit at Arkansas, don't you think Eric Musselman could do it at Kentucky? And don't you think Kentucky could say, well, the guy at Arkansas is winning more? And no disrespect to Arkansas, but we're Kentucky. They care about football more than they care about basketball. We don't. Clint is up next on Calipari. Thank you for waiting. What's up, Clint?
Hey, Jared. I'm a 50-year-old from Owensboro, Kentucky, and I'm sick of this crap that Calipari's throwing out there. He couldn't coach himself out of a wet paper sack. How many times we got to see a team run a high screen pick and roll and they get a straight layup?
Oh, they just bring an Oscar out. Just the whole game. Just bring Oscar out every time. You're right, 100%.
Yeah. So it's time for him to go. I don't care if we got the number 1 recruiting class or not. It's I got SEC tournament tickets, paid $700 and went home on the first night. So no, I'm not happy.
Thank you for your call, Clint. I mean, and see that's fair. Like, that's Kentucky. That's what Kentucky basketball does. They pay $700 to $2,000 for SEC tournament tickets, not just NCAA. And when you factor in how much it probably costs to stay at the Days Inn in Antioch when they come for the SEC tournament, my guess is they're probably spending about $1,500, $1,600. And then they get bounced in the first round each of the last 2 years. You're supposed to win at Kentucky. You are supposed to win. That's how this goes. And Cal doesn't do it. And yet, Seth Greenberg, there's nobody you can get who's better than Calipari. Jay Billis, that would be ludicrous. Guess what? I've had the same internet provider since I bought my first house in 2018. Same internet provider. Moved 2 years ago. Kept the same internet provider. In fact, I didn't do anything. I just told the cable company that I was moving, the internet company, and I just stuck it right in the wall, and it worked. Same Wi-Fi and everything. Well, all of a sudden, I was having some issues with my Wi-Fi. And then I found out how much money my parents were paying for their Wi-Fi. They were paying a half for their Wi-Fi that I was paying for mine. And they had like 100 times faster speed. Well, guess what I did? I switched providers. You want to know why? Because for what I was paying, I should have been getting more. And so I decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay less and get more. Kentucky doesn't have to pay Eric Musselman $10 million a year, and he goes to the Elite Eight every year. And they don't need to pay $10 million a year for Cal to get bounced in the first and second round. I mean, it's ridiculous. Mel Kiper Jr. has his latest mock draft out. Finally, they have changed up who the Titans are going to be drafting, and it's not a head-scratcher, but it's interesting. We'll break it down with Trevor Maddich, who will join us coming up next. Stillman and Company right here, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every day we are live and local.
Are you going to pay $20.2 million for someone who's struggling this much to stay healthy?
And your source for Nashville sports.
The players got to play better, and they're the ones actually out on the court, and they got to execute.
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Imagine yourself in a new Toyota, like the aggressively sophisticated Toyota Highlander, with room for up to 8 and the most advanced safety features. Now through April 4th, you can get low 3.99 APR financing on a new 23 Highlander, with approved credit through TFS, excludes hybrids, and every new Toyota comes with 2 years no-cost maintenance included. Get complete details at buyatoyota.com. Ready, set, go get your Toyota today. Toyota, let's go places.
In a world where human interaction seems to be reduced to chats and clicks and emails, where transactions are measured only by speed, where corporate policies overrule common sense. Sometimes you just want to go old school. Welcome to Genesis Diamonds, a refreshing experience where personal relationships and authentic interaction are the norm, not the exception. At Genesis, you're here celebrating something awesome in your life, and we want to know all about it. We want to hear your story, listen to your requests, and be a meaningful part of whatever occasion this is. A proposal, an anniversary, a birthday, graduation, push gift, sweet 16. If it's important to you, it's important to us. So we don't care how long it takes. We're not paid on commission, and we're not beholden to some corporate rule book. We just want to help you get what you want to make it into a special memory. So take a break from modern shopping and go old school with us at Genesis. Let's start a real relationship that you can count on for life. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills, and Cool Springs.
What if you could be credit card debt-free in 10 days and save as much as $1,000 a month? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Hey, Willie Donick here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low monthly payment. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days. And a $50,000 loan would only cost you around $400 a month. It's that money to pay off high-interest credit cards or do a home improvement. You can access up to 90% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Stop the madness and say no to 24% interest fees. Call Loan Pronto today. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Come see Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace live, followed by Stillman and Company at Central Barbecue in Hillsborough Village on Thursday, March 23rd to kick off this week's college hoop action. Come for lunch and dinner and cheer on your favorite teams.
Now, your Game Center update.
The Tennessee Titans officially announced the first 5 signings of their free agent class on Monday. Among them was defensive lineman Arden Key, who played for AFC South rival Jacksonville last season. Key talked about leaving the Jags for the Titans.
With Jacksonville, it was a shock to me. I ain't gonna lie. After the year, I thought I was gonna be a Jacksonville Jaguar, but I felt disrespected because I came over there, built up the culture, brought a whole lot of energy. Changed the city, changed the town. I felt like I was in my rightful mind. I was gonna be a Jacksonville Jaguar, but that didn't happen. I still love the players, love the teammates, love the city, love the fans. But yeah, we gotta see them twice.
The Nashville Predators are back in action tonight as they face off versus the Buffalo Sabres. Defenseman Ryan McDonough is a game-time decision after missing the last 4 games. Pre-game starts at 5 with puck drop at 6 right here on the Preds Radio Network. I'm Ian Safar for 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Tonight, your Nashville Predators battle the Buffalo Sabres. Coverage begins at 5 on your home for Smashville. WPRT FM Pegram, WBUC HD2 Laverne, 1025 and 1063 The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff.
You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 1025, 1063 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to Superbook Sports. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. Mel Kiper's latest mock draft is out. This is mock draft 3.0. I also like the fact that Mel dropped his this morning, and then Daniel Jeremiah, who's like the NFL Network's version of Mel, he dropped his later. But to me, there's only one guy who I get really excited about, and it's Mel. And I don't totally believe everything Mel says. I don't totally agree with Mel on everything. But Mel, he's just different. He's the original Santa Claus of the NFL draft. And everybody else, in my opinion, is just a copycat, even if they know more. But Mel's latest mock draft is out. And Mel, every single mock drafter has the Titans taking Paris Johnson, the left tackle out of Ohio State. But Mel turns it up. Number 1 in Mel's draft is C.J. Stroud to the Panthers. Number 2 is Bryce Young to the Texans. Indianapolis moves up, and they take Will Levis at number 3. Arizona, first non-quarterback off the board, Will Anderson out of Alabama at 4. Anthony Richardson at 5 to the Seahawks. Jalen Carter from Georgia at 6 to Detroit. Now, at this point, all these players we talk about for the Titans at 11. Christian Gonzalez, the corner at Oregon, Mel has at 7 to the Raiders. Devin Witherspoon, the corner at Illinois, at 8 to the Falcons. Paris Johnson, the tackle who everybody has mocked to the Titans, at 9 to Chicago. Peter Skoronski, the other left tackle from Northwestern, at 10 to the Eagles, which puts the Titans on the board with the 11th overall pick. And Mel has the Titans taking Tyree Wilson, the defensive end out of Texas Tech. Mel writes, quote, Tennessee has used free agency to bring in Andre Dillard to play left tackle and Daniel Brunskill to compete for one of the guard positions, which means offensive line is less of a need now. And with Johnson and Skoronski off the board in this scenario, the Titans don't have to force a lineman here. That's why I'm in favor of them going after the high ceiling edge. Tyree Wilson, who is recovering from a broken foot, don't like that. That meant he couldn't work out at the combine, has elite talent at 6'6", 271. He had 14 sacks over the past 2 seasons for the Red Raiders, showing excellent bursts off the line of scrimmage. For a Titans team that just cut Bud Dupree and ranked 27th in percentage of sacks per dropback last season, he'd be an ideal fit. I'm not as high, Mel writes, on Wilson's tape as other people in the league I trust. He's too inconsistent, but his flashes of brilliance as a pass rusher make him intriguing. Trevor Maddich joins us, ESPN college football analyst, presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, where experience matters. So, Trev, let's start right there. Your thoughts on Mel having the Titans in that scenario draft Tyree Wilson out of Texas Tech with the 11th pick?
That would be fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. If he's there and if Paris Johnson is not, and if those two, that would be a great pick. And it's things that we've talked about, that everybody says that they want to take the best available player. Most of the time, they take the best available player at a position of need. And that works out okay if the position of need is not ranked very far below the highest ranked available player. Okay. So that you don't draft a guy that's materially graded less with less talent and ability to impact. Okay. But if Paris Johnson, who is in the same vicinity as Tyree Wilson, is not available, then the thing that Wilson does is it makes your quarterback better by comparison to the other teams in the division especially. We talked last week about having to get past great quarterbacks in Buffalo and Kansas City in order to make it to the Super Bowl. And now when you've got the mocks coming in, you've got Will Levis mocked at number 3 by Mel going to the Colts, and Bryce Young mocked at number 2 by Mel going to the Houston Texans. You've already got Trevor Lawrence at Jacksonville. So you've got 3 young quarterbacks that if they pan out the way people expect them to, then you've got 3 outstanding young quarterbacks that you have to keep up with who? And again, several years from now, when Ryan Tannehill probably is going to age out or price himself out, then those guys will be in their prime while the Titans are starting to develop a younger quarterback behind them. So how do you then compete at the comparative quarterback positions? You do that by degrading the other quarterback. And the thing about this particular pick, this potential pick, is it does exactly that. I mean, it not only fills a gap with Bud Dupree being gone, but it also creates tremendous depth with their pass rushers. I mean, Arden Key as a free agent signing, I think is a much more capable pass rusher than his stats might show for a variety of reasons. I think he's a great addition. Harold Landry coming back, we know what he can do. And, of course, Jeffrey Simmons and D'Amico Autry. Now you add this guy, you can put 4 pass rushers across the line that will be as good as any 4, theoretically, that any other team can put on the line of scrimmage. And that is phenomenal when you're trying to have your quarterback be able to at least compete with the production of those 3 other quarterbacks in the division that theoretically should be more talented and more experienced than what you're going to have.
Trev, Floyd used to always come in on draft day with 5 guys. He'd have a list, and it'd be 5 or 4 or something like that. And the Titans are always picking 18th, 17th, something like that. And so, unless one of the top guys falls, which it wasn't expected, here are the 3 or 4 guys I'm looking at, and if those guys aren't there, get out. That's what he used to always say. If you're the Titans at 11, and we assume all 4 quarterbacks go off the board, and let's assume Jalen Carter and Will Anderson are gone too, can the Titans sit there and say, okay, one of the 2 corners, one of the 2 tackles, or Tyree Wilson, or get out? Or do you think they should get out before they get to that spot?
No, I think the 11th pick is one of those borderline picks in the first round where you should be able to get an impact player.
And do you think all of those guys are impact players?
I think they could be. Certainly they could be a Pro Bowl caliber player, if not make the Pro Bowl every year, certainly be in the mix for it. And that gives you a plus competitive edge at that position. That's what you're really looking for. And there will be a lot of guys. There's a couple of tackles that they could pick. If Tyree Wilson falls there, boy, that would be fantastic. I don't like the wide receivers at that spot. I know who I do like if it ends up being a wide receiver for some reason, but I don't like the wide receivers there. But there are a couple of tackles they could get. The corners, there's 3 or 4 corners that are going to vie for the top corner of this draft, and we don't know which one it's going to be really for 3 or 4 years until they get into the league, but guys that have very similar potential. So I think there's a very good opportunity at number 11 to take a guy that can start for them for 10 years and be an impact guy.
Trevor, Mel's mock has the receivers starting at 20 and going from there. He has Smith and Jigba at 20 to Seattle, Zay Flowers at 22 to Baltimore, Quentin Johnston, TCU at 23, and Jordan Addison, USC at 25. Do you think the Titans, and going from 11 to 20 probably means they either pick up a couple extra second-round picks or they pick up a first-round pick in next year's draft? Do you think the Titans, if they trade out, could then target a receiver in the 20s? And do you think any of those receivers would be impact players to start opposite Treylon Burks?
I think, yes, they could. They're going to have receivers available because at least 4 quarterbacks and maybe 5 are going to be taken in the first round, and that's going to drop other position players down. And so if they did that, targeting a receiver, then, yeah, a couple of guys. I mean, Smith and Jigba last year, of course, was hurt, but the year before he was uncoverable at Ohio State. He did most of his work out of the slot, and that actually is a great thing for the Titans, given that their offensive line is a work in progress, and you've got a slot receiver like Smith and Jigba who can get open, who is good on the scramble drill, but still has the speed to take it deep if you need him to. He would be good. I think Zay Flowers and Quentin Johnston out of TCU are the most likely to have immediate impact in that position. And the reason is different for each guy. Zay Flowers is kind of an itty-bitty dude, but he is incredibly elusive. He's a wide receiver out of Boston College. With the ball in his hand, he's just slippery, man. He's sudden. He's hard to catch. He's a big play waiting to happen after a short catch. But he's a little guy, but he showed in the ACC that didn't bother him at all. Quentin Johnston at TCU is 6'3" or 6'4", about 208 pounds, and he's the kind of guy that's open even when he's covered because his catch radius is so big. And so we don't know exactly what his 40 is. He didn't run it that I saw at the Combine. We'll have to see what happens at the Pro Day. But at the same time, his production at TCU was very good. I think those 2 receivers, along with Smith and Jigba, if they are confident that his injury is healed, and it's a tough injury, man. It was a severe hamstring injury. It's not like an ACL or a broken bone that just heals right up. Hamstring injuries tend to linger. They've got to be confident about that. But in the range of 20, if any of those 3 receivers are there and they grab them, I think they will upgrade their playmaking ability tremendously.
Which one do you like the most? And I do think that Smith and Jigba's off the board because I think Vrabel is not interested in hamstring injuries.
Yeah, no, I can see that. Of those, the one that I would tend to gravitate towards is Zay Flowers because he's different from Treylon Burks. Burks, last year was kind of a lost year for him. He came in some combination of out of shape and or didn't have to deal with his asthma among the pollination that was in this part of the country coming out of Arkansas. And he lost his entire offseason because of that. He just wasn't able to do much during the offseason, and it kind of showed in the regular season. He had some flashes, but I think this year either they're going to get that fully organized and he's going to have a breakout year, or it's going to become an insurmountable obstacle. I think it's the former. I think he's going to have a breakout year. But at Arkansas, he was that big receiver who could make those contested catches and still have the speed to run away from SEC defensive backs. So you've got that big guy. Now with Flowers, you would add that lightning quick little slot receiver that can break open quickly for the quarterback. And then I talked about the scramble drill. That's important, especially with this offensive line as it continues to grow. You've got a guy that understands how to stay open when the quarterback is under duress, bugging out of the pocket. And so you've got that big guy. Now you've got that little guy, and it gives you game planning options and matchup options that you wouldn't necessarily have if you grabbed Quentin Johnston, who's the other big guy.
More draft with Trevor Maddich. We'll get to that coming up next here on Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
We are your home for every big pass.
Kevin Harvick takes over the race lead.
Big wreck.
Trouble turn 2. One car is around and hard into the outside wall.
And big win.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has won the Daytona 500.
Yeah! Woo!
Catch every lap of NASCAR on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
If you've experienced a concussion, the injury can result in temporary chemical changes inside the brain that can cause it to function improperly. The signs and symptoms may occur immediately or take several days to appear. The experienced doctors at Houston Clinic Orthopedics can diagnose your concussion and get you feeling back to normal with therapy and rehabilitative exercises. If you experience head injury signs such as headache, dizziness, nausea, sensitivity, ringing in ears, or problems with memory, balance, vision, or concentration, visit tn.houston.com to learn more and to book an appointment. Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back at First Horizon Park. Opening weekend kicks off Friday, March 31st against the Louisville Bats, with Friday fireworks, live music Saturday, and Sunday family fun day. See you at the ballpark. Get tickets at NashvilleSounds.com.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
The Game text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai. Online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Be a part of the conversation. Call or text the Game at 615-737-1025.
Still overpaying for a razor? In this economy? Gross. At Dollar Shave Club, you can get a top shelf shave at a regular shelf price. We've been hawking shaving products for years online, and we're excited to bring you the same great quality and low prices at a store near you. From high-quality stainless steel blades to super smooth shave creams, Dollar Shave Club's in the business of making your shave easier. Find Dollar Shave Club in the men's razor aisle. Getting your Dollar Shave Club razor wherever you want. Isn't that great?
Bob's Steak and Chop House in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Hi, this is Chef Mark again from Bob's Steak and Chop House at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Come join us before any Preds game or concert at Bridgestone Arena. Enjoy one of our prime steaks. Why Bob's, you may ask? Because at Bob's, we not only serve prime beef, but the top 2% of prime beef in the world. Try our certified Japanese A5 or Australian tomahawks. So come see us at Omni before you go to any game and make sure to ask for Chef Mark. Let's go Preds.
Attending an event downtown? Dine at Bob's Steak and Chop House in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Want to see our smiling faces? You can watch us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live.
We are good to go.
Presented by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. You're listening to Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Number 11, are you interested in moving up? Or you'd like more picks? I know it's a ways off, but what do you think?
Well, we're always open for business.
all the guys, you got my number, call me. But no, it's always about just being open to try to continue to add value. And so we'll listen and field every call and kind of see what comes from it.
There you go. That was Rand Carthon at the Combine saying, hey, we're open for business with the 11th overall pick. Trevor Maddich is with us, ESPN college football analyst presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics. So, Trev, in Mel Kiper's mock draft, the two tackles that we've been highlighting a lot, Peter Skoronski out of Northwestern and Paris Johnson out of Ohio State, are off the board. The Titans take Tyree Wilson out of Texas Tech. You do like that pick. But if you were sitting there, you're the Titans, you got a hole at receiver, you've got a hole at left guard, you really have a hole at center, even though they tendered Brewer a $4 million contract to start there next year, and you've signed Arden Key to bolster your defensive line. Would your mindset right now be taking the best available player at 11, or would you be thinking about trading down where receivers and guards will be in the first round and picking up more picks to add to the kitty?
Well, I would absolutely trade down if I could, unless, again, that grade is super high on the guy that falls to them at number 11. But they've only got 6 picks in this draft, and they've got a lot of holes. They need to bolster competition at corner, even though they signed a free agent to that spot. They still need more talent and more speed at corner. The offensive line still needs multiple guys. Receiver and tight end needs to be restocked with the exception of Chigakonkwo. He just needs to grow. But at the same time, there's so many positions that they need. And this draft is a little bit light on people, especially skilled people, that are huge impact players outside of the top 7 or so. And it's pretty heavy at certain positions at depth. Corner is a good one where there's depth. Offensive line, there's good depth. Receiver, there's good depth, but it would start in the back half of the first round. But then there's a bunch of guys that can run and that have some skills you could work around. And so if they're able to trade down and get more people, I think they could upgrade their roster in more spots.
Is there anybody that could be available at 11 that would knock your socks off if you were in their position?
Yeah, knocking my socks off. I would like Paris Johnson of Ohio State as an offensive lineman. I would like him very much. Peter Skoronski, if he's available at number 11, would be a solid, steady guard for them for a decade. I don't know so much about tackle, even though he played tackle in college, but I think at guard he'd be terrific. Neither one of them would knock my socks off, but I would be very, very happy. Tyree Wilson, the defensive end out of Texas Tech that Mel has mocked to the Titans at number 11 right now, he would be one that I would be very happy with and very intrigued by. After that, the only guy that would really knock my socks off that could be available at 11 is Jalen Carter. You know, we talked about him last week, Jared, where he's the defensive tackle out of Georgia who is maybe the best individual football player in this entire draft. But he was caught up in a drag racing situation right after the parade for their national championship earlier in the winter, and 2 people died. He's been charged with misdemeanors because of that, with a potential of a maximum of a year in jail. And he showed up at his pro day at Georgia 9 pounds heavier than he was at the combine just a couple of weeks ago. And he wasn't able to finish the position drills. And so you can make the case that any young man would be totally stressed because of being involved in a situation where 2 people lost their lives and a legal situation where he could possibly go to jail. And so he assuaged his concerns with cheesecake and chocolate cake. You can say that that's a one-time thing. But if teams are concerned about that from a character standpoint, and he drops to the Titans at number 11, that to me would be the most intriguing, because if he's able to get himself unstuck from a mental standpoint and a decision standpoint and get back to where he was from a production standpoint at Georgia, he would without question be the most disruptive player that could possibly be available at number 11 for the Titans. And that includes Tyree Wilson that Mel has mocked as a defensive end. Now, Mel has him mocked right now, Jalen Carter, at number 6 to the Lions. But that, I think, was before this pro day debacle happened. So we'll see what happens with Jalen Carter.
Trevor Matich is with us, presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, where experience matters. One name that keeps popping up for me is Hendon Hooker, because during the season, people were telling me that Hendon Hooker had played his way into the first round, and that Hendon Hooker, we've talked about Hendon Hooker, Will Levis, and certainly, in my opinion, Hendon Hooker is more of a sure thing, even with the knee injury, than Anthony Richardson. In my opinion, Trev, Hendon Hooker has the size, Hendon Hooker has the arm strength, Hendon Hooker has the leadership skills and, the quarterback field general mentality that I think you want out of your quarterback. But he's a little bit older. He might be a system guy in Josh Heupel's system, and he's got the knee injury. I still think he's going to go in the first round. Mel does not have him mocked there. I think if you're the Titans and you're thinking about a long-term plan behind Tannehill, trading down and looking at Hendon Hooker wouldn't be crazy. What's your read on Hooker in this draft where we sit right now?
I like Hooker. I like him a lot. I love him in the second round. I would like him late in the first round. We know the good things that he's done with all the deep passes and such a great touchdown interception ratio, et cetera. There's a couple of things that I think would cause him to fall behind besides the ACL injury, which I think is probably going to end up being fine. You talk about his age, he'll be 27 next year as a rookie, rehabbing an injury, still coming off of it, or 26 next year. And so that's an issue. But part of the problem I think scouts will notice on tape about Hooker is that when he threw over the middle, mid-range, he tended to sail that ball, which in the NFL is very dangerous because there'll be safeties over the top game planned for some of those routes. And when he runs, he's very athletic, but when it comes time to get hit, he gets hit hard. There are quarterbacks that are just elusive enough that force a defender to slow down and break down a little bit so they don't miss him. That Hooker's not that guy. Hooker is one of those guys that gets hit hard, and he will have to learn that when his journey's over, he needs to be proactive about getting on the ground. So these are some things that scouts might be looking at on tape. At the same time, the reason I love Hooker is that not only does he have a fantastic deep ball, he's also an outstanding decision maker. You rarely see him try to force a ball into a low percentage, high risk situation. He's very good at reading safeties on those deep balls. And from a football character standpoint, he's as good as you can expect coming out of college. I think if he's available late in the first round and the Titans want to package picks to go up and get him, I think that'd be interesting because, trading Josh Dobbs away, not trading him away, letting him go as a free agent to Cleveland Browns. He was the backup last year. What that tells me is that the Titans are looking at the future at that position. And whether they think Malik Willis is the future or whether they expect to draft a quarterback to plug in there so he can learn and grow in Tannehill's final year or two, they're looking at the future in that pick to eventually develop into Tannehill's successor. And so I think Hendon Hooker would be a terrific one to bring in, let him heal up and gain some experience this coming year. And then at the age of 27, if he's ready to go, he'll still be able to start for you for 10 years.
Is there any chance, in your opinion, he'd be available with the 41st pick, which is the Titans' second-round pick?
I think it is unlikely that he'd be available because of the things that we talked about. He's the kind of a guy that can drop in the draft. And I think that teams would tend to realize that and move up to get him because his talent is higher than, that position. When you look at the teams that are in front of him, though, in front of the Titans, I just pulled up now. If you look at number 20, for example, number 20 is Seattle. So let's tick these things off. You tell me which ones need a quarterback. Seattle, no. Chargers, no. Ravens might, but I think Lamar's going to end up staying there. Vikings, Jaguars, Giants, Cowboys, Buffalo, Cincinnati, New Orleans, Eagles, Chiefs, no. Then you get to round 2. Steelers, Texans, if they draft a quarterback, that's a no. Cardinals, Colts, no. Raiders just signed a quarterback. Carolina just moved up to number 1. And so, his talent is better than 41. But when you look at who might need a quarterback between 20 and 40, I don't see anybody there that would take a quarterback. So he might.
Trevor Matich is with us. I am at a point, I have a hypothesis, and I want your opinion on this. I am ready to give up on 3 players the Titans have used a lot of draft capital on. Caleb Farley, Dylan Radins, Malik Willis. I'm ready to give up. I don't think those guys are ever going to be starters in the NFL. Maybe Radins can be a backup, but ultimately I don't think Farley's any good, and I don't think he can stay healthy, and I don't think Willis is any good. I'm ready to give up on those 3. Would you include those 3 in your plans if you were running the Titans?
I would split those into 2 plus 1. I think Farley and Radins, I would want to develop, but just like technically every position, they're looking to get younger, faster, cheaper, and more talented and more capable, right? Mm-hmm. Some combination of that. I think both of those guys, for availability when it comes to Farley and capability when it comes to Radins, they're looking to upgrade that in a big way, because those 2 guys right now are minus players for them compared to guys that would be on the opposite depth chart on any given game day. And so those guys have a lot to prove. And I wouldn't be in a hurry to get rid of them, but at the same time, I wouldn't be in a hurry. I wouldn't be slow to replace them if the opportunity is there, because so far neither guy has shown the ability to be a long-term answer. Willis to me is a little bit different. Willis last year, I don't think there was any way you could fairly judge his capabilities as an NFL quarterback last year. With the system he came out of at Liberty, it was a system that is notorious for not preparing quarterbacks mentally for the NFL game. And he was drafted with the thought that he could develop for a year or so behind Tannehill before he'd have to do what he had to do last year because of Tannehill's injury. And he proved not capable. I mean, just beyond not capable. But was it because he can't do it, or because it was his rookie year and he was thrown to the wolves way too soon? And so I am inclined to give him the benefit of the doubt and not judge him based on his rookie year, but judge him based on how he does this next year.
Would you bring somebody else in, though, to be the backup quarterback going into training camp at least?
Yeah, I would absolutely at least draft a quarterback. I mean, I'm not sure who's out there anymore from a standpoint of a backup, but keep in mind this, that if I'm the Titans, and I haven't talked to them about this, but if I'm the Titans, that backup quarterback position to me is the developmental position to replace Tannehill. That's the ideal situation. And so if there's a guy in the draft at quarterback that I think can develop over the next year or 2, I want to pick him and slot him into that spot. Keep this in mind, that if Tannehill gets hurt this year, no matter who they put in there, he's not going to be able to take this team to the Super Bowl. Unless some magical free agent shows up that turns out to be better than everybody in the league thinks. Then whether it's Willis or whether it's Hendon Hooker or Jake Hayner, by the way, who I really like out of Fresno State, quarterback. If Tannehill gets hurt, then the season's over from the standpoint of getting past the elite quarterbacks and the rest of the AFC to make it to the Super Bowl. So that to me is a developmental position that has an eye on the future, not an eye on 2023.
Trevor Matich, as always, joining us on a Tuesday. Trev, thanks for moving up for us, and we appreciate you as always, and we'll continue to keep our eye on the draft.
Thank you, Jared.
Yep, Trevor Matich, as always, presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters. So everybody knows me, and everybody knows that I would do whatever it takes to get a franchise quarterback on the Tennessee Titans. That I would, now I wouldn't, it wouldn't be Deshaun Watson if it were me, but almost everything else in order to get a franchise quarterback. Vegas thinks the Titans could get a franchise quarterback this offseason. We'll get to that coming up next. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. They are my franchise quarterback when it comes to taking care of my home. They have been taking care of my home for years, and they can do the exact same for you. I love Hiller, and I never consider not calling Hiller when I have an issue, because I know when I do, boom, they'll get it taken care of. The only reason why I wouldn't call Hiller is because I can just go right there at happyhiller.com and just schedule an appointment just like that, and it's all taken care of. Hey, sometimes replacing equipment in your home can be overlooked until something breaks, but there are actually big problems that can come from outdated, old, vintage HVAC systems. Older systems have higher repair costs, require more maintenance, and result in higher utility bills. Even worse, they can break down when you need them the most. This month, during Hiller's Vintage Showdown, they're giving away a free HVAC system to the owner of the oldest unit. It's easy to enter. Just go online to happyhiller.com and submit a picture of your old unit. Plus, everybody wins with trade-in credits and 0% interest financing for up to 48 months on replacements. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. My guys, proud supporters of the Preds of Valls and Vandy. Hiller, call the Happy Face Truck today.
Hey, this is Roman Yossi, and this is Smashville.
Going to the front of the net, he scores. What a gorgeous move. Roman Yossi.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
It's the Electronic Express famous half price fair. This week only, save up to 50% in every department, including all 4K TVs, appliances, laptops and tablets, speakers, and more. You'll not find a lower price anywhere. We guarantee it. The famous half price fair. It's first come, first served. Sale ends Saturday at 9 p.m. Hurry into any of our convenient locations. Plus, get up to 3 years free financing. The Electronic Express famous half price fair ends this Saturday at 9 p.m.
For one day only, Saturday, March 25th, get 5+ acres and a new cabin package on sale for only $69.9 during the Nashville Acreage Grand Opening Land Sale. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get the best of both worlds. Flat, usable, prime Nashville acreage with the biggest and most spectacular ridgeline views in the entire Nashville area. Priced below market prices. Come explore this recreational paradise and make your dreams of owning exceptional Nashville acreage a reality for less. With 5+ acres and a new cabin package for just $69.9. Best of all, these properties include first-class infrastructure like county water, electric, and county road frontage. All huge advantages in today's market. Appointment times are filling up fast. Call now to book your private tour. 615-437-6348. That's 615-437-6348. Cabin kit package for materials only. Delivered to site by third party. Taxes and delivery not included. Price is subject to change without notice or obligation. Call for complete details. An equal housing opportunity.
Get in zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage? You know, changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Mobil 1 can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP extended life oil filter for only $38.99. Get started on your next job today with the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com. Get in zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
When you want live and local.
If they were just better at the offensive line.
You could be a contender in the AFC again.
They've had more winning seasons than not. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game has you covered. Looking for some national programming?
Why do I want to get a running back like that 5 more years?
The AFC now is so deep at quarterback.
Check out 94.9 The Fan. Nashville's home for all things sports is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and 94.9 The Fan.
What's happening in Nashville? This is Scott Van Pelt. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
So what's happening now behind the scenes?
The teams have to contact him directly if they want to negotiate. Yeah. It's my understanding that the NFL Management Council provides his information to all 32 teams. So they got his cell phone, his office phone, whatever it is, they can contact him. So right now there's no real firm offer sheet for Lamar Jackson that I'm aware of. Teams are probably slow playing this. The draft could be a good indicator because you have a team like, say, the Colts at number 4. If they feel like they can't get the quarterback of the future they want in the draft, maybe they pivot to Lamar Jackson. The Jets, should they strike out with Aaron Rodgers? Certainly that's not expected, but they could pivot. And then you got some wild cards like a Tennessee or a New England, teams that like to run the ball. You never know.
Jeremy Fowler on SportsCenter saying, hey, Titans, they could be a fit for Lamar Jackson. And then all of a sudden, everybody's like, what do you think about Lamar Jackson to the Titans? And I'm thinking, are we talking about the same Titans? Are these the same Titans we've been talking about the whole time? I mean, I'm telling you right now, when I heard that on Sunday, when I heard Jeremy Fowler say, you know, hey, they're the wild card teams that are out there like Tennessee, I thought to myself, what? With what money? What money are we talking about that they're going to sign Lamar Jackson with? And then, of course, there's the whole process of how to sign Lamar Jackson, and how if you do sign Lamar Jackson, the Ravens may just say, okay, we'll match that contract, and then you don't end up with Lamar Jackson, and now you spend all this time, and now Tannehill knows you want him out of here, which teams normally like to avoid. They like to avoid the idea that they're sniffing around at other quarterbacks while they still have a quarterback. But today I was sitting there just getting ready for the show, and Ryan Porth texted me, the old boss man, now up in Chicago. And he texted me and said, are the Titans going to be players for Lamar Jackson? And I said, no. In fact, he asked, percent chance the Titans end up with Lamar Jackson? And I said, 0. In fact, Ryan is not one of these wild and crazy, he's not one of these people like a lot of people in the text line are, that when an Adam Thielen gets released, or like Cam Newton had his pro day today for Auburn to show teams that he can still throw the ball. And people are going to be like, you think we should sign Cam Newton? No. Cam Newton has stunk for 4 years. I'm not interested in Cam Newton. But I know, what if Le'Veon Bell were to be available? What about Le'Veon Bell? He was good 5 years ago. So Porth's not one of those guys. So for Porth to text me about the Titans and Lamar Jackson, I'm thinking to myself, well, there's got to be like a real reason as to why he's texting me. And Porth said that bookies.com, I don't know bookies.com. Again, I'm a FanDuel guy. Bookies.com is giving the Titans a 20% chance at 4-1 odds, the best odds outside of the Ravens. He said, mind-boggling. And you know what my favorite part about that Fowler cut is right there? Fowler is labeled as an insider. Insiders are supposed to kind of know what's going on behind the scenes. But insiders normally don't report anything unless it's like right there, or they're told, and they're told to like a T, so that there's no chance that they're not right, that there's no chance that there's any ambiguity or anything. And that's what insiders are. It's like Adam Vingan texted me the other day and was like, the insider game is just so corrupt. And he's right. But Jeremy Fowler is an insider. And they bring him every Sunday on SportsCenter to say, Jeremy, what's the latest? And you heard in that Lamar Jackson cut, there is no latest. There is no other team. There is not a single other team that is out there in order to go out and get Lamar Jackson right now. And let's play the cut again. Let's play the cut again. Ian, leave my mic open and listen to kind of how Jeremy Fowler, this is literally just filling airtime on television.
So what's happening now behind the scenes?
The teams have to contact him directly if they want to negotiate. Yeah. And it's my understanding that the NFL Management Council provides his information to all 32 teams. So they got his cell phone, his office phone, whatever it is, they can contact him. So right now, there's no real firm offer sheet for Lamar Jackson that I'm aware of. Teams are probably slow playing this. The draft pivot to Lamar Jackson. The Jets, should they strike out with Aaron Rodgers?
No!
That's not expected, but they could pivot. And then you got some wild cards like a Tennessee or a New England, teams that like to run the ball. You never know.
There's nobody there. That's the problem. Lamar Jackson's the biggest name that's still out there. You can't sit there and say, Jeremy, where's Aaron Rodgers going to go? Because everybody knows where Aaron Rodgers is going to go. So that's over. So we got to fill the time on SportsCenter, Football's the number one thing there. So we bring this insider on TV every day so that people can click it on and say, okay, what's the latest in the NFL? And they're saying, what's the latest with Lamar? And he can't just look at him and say, nothing. Like, there's nothing. He tells us, well, every team in the league has Lamar's phone number, and so they can call him. Well, no, duh. Like, obviously. And then it's, well, who's out there? Well, we don't know. But the draft. I mean, what if Indianapolis doesn't get a quarterback? Then could they be interested in Lamar? Maybe. What if the Jets don't get Aaron Rodgers? Guess what? They're going to get Aaron Rodgers. And then he just says, there's these wild card teams, Tennessee and Baltimore. And I guess that, or Tennessee and New England. And I guess that little snippet right there was enough for the bookies at bookies.com out in Vegas to decide the Titans have the second highest odds in order to have Lamar Jackson. In fact, the Ravens are plus 235, which makes no sense. The Ravens should be far and away the favorites with minus odds, but they're not. The Titans are second at plus 400, and then the field is like plus 5 something, so the field is less likely, every other team is less likely than the Titans or the Ravens, and that's ridiculous to me. You think Amy Adams Strunk is going to guarantee a quarterback $230 million? Are we talking about the same team? Are we talking about the same franchise? I mean, if they had drafted Joe Burrow, I could see them giving Joe Burrow a top-of-the-market contract. And I could see the Titans guaranteeing Joe Burrow over $200 million and giving him $50 million and guaranteeing essentially the first 3 years with a very easy trigger to guarantee the 4th year and everything else. But Lamar is not Joe Burrow. And that's one thing that all these former players on TV don't seem to understand, because they go on TV and they tell us Lamar's so good because he won an MVP 4 years ago that how could these teams not want him? And the reality is, I don't think anybody wants him. I don't think the Titans want Lamar Jackson. I don't think the Titans want to trade the 2 first-round picks, much less guarantee him all the money. And, again, I'm not calling the Titans cheap, but the Titans are not the biggest spenders at the table. What was funny was before all this happened, and everybody kept saying, Atlanta, 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 Atlanta. If the Ravens don't give Lamar Jackson the non-exclusive franchise tag, then Atlanta is going to give Lamar a huge contract. The Ravens give Lamar the non-exclusive franchise tag, and Atlanta's not interested. And Atlanta had to spend money in order to be cap compliant. Like, they had to spend money with large cap hits in order to be compliant with the cap. So did Chicago. That's why they took on DJ Moore's $20 million salary. That's why Atlanta traded for Jonnu Smith. That's why they signed Jesse Bates for all the money they did. They have to pay money. And they're like, no, we're not interested in Lamar. Now, I would do anything it takes for the Titans to get a franchise quarterback. I would. You've heard me go down the rabbit hole so many times about Tom Brady at the age of 45 years old and how interested I would be in all of that. You heard me with Aaron Rodgers last offseason and even this offseason. And remember all the picks I was willing to give up for Russell Wilson? Boy, I felt stupid about that one. But they're not going to end up with Lamar Jackson. I just cannot see it. I cannot see the Titans spending the money for Lamar. I cannot see the Titans taking the risk on Lamar's health. I cannot see Mike Vrabel being interested in scrapping the entire offense, including the playbook, for an offense that Tim Kelly's never run, specific for Lamar Jackson. I just don't see any of that happening. And the one thing that I think sometimes offends people, but it shouldn't offend them, but I think it does, is Lamar might not actually be that good. I mean, he's good. He's better than most of kind of the quarterbacks that are out there. But I wouldn't give Dak Prescott all that money. And I don't think Dak Prescott can win the Super Bowl. Now, I think he can win it if you give him a great team around him. But I don't think Dak Prescott can carry you to the Super Bowl. And so I wouldn't want to do that with Dak Prescott. I wouldn't want to do that with Kirk Cousins. I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want to do that with anybody who's not Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Aaron Rodgers, and then the young guys will see. But I wouldn't do that right now. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is going to be that. So, no, I'm not spending all that money, and I know the Titans aren't. Like, I know you know the Titans. You know they're not going to do that. So where bookies.com got the Titans as a better-than-the-field option for Lamar Jackson to be the quarterback, I have no idea. And again, I thought Tannehill had a fine season last year. I think Tannehill's a fine quarterback. I think we will all remember Tannehill fondly when he is no longer the quarterback here, especially when the quarterback, if they go draft a Joe Burrow or something like that, then we won't ever talk about Tannehill. But if they go through the abyss like they did post Steve McNair, we'll be like, oh, remember the days of Tannehill? But if I get a franchise quarterback, I would. But I just don't think the Lamar Jackson thing's very likely at all. And if Lamar is willing to come to an agreement with you, this isn't like Lamar's a straight-up free agent. And Lamar can be mad at the Ravens for not respecting him, so he takes a deal with you that he wouldn't take with the Ravens. If he takes a deal with you, the Ravens can just match it, and it's over. So no. Sorry, bookies.com. Lamar Jackson is not going to be a Titan. 615-737-1025. Early Preds game tonight means an early Predators game day. We're to that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106 to the game.
185! Every team needs a quarterback.
185!
That's why we have
Hasselbeck, bootleg, rollout, toss, touchdown.
Tim.
You can run good plays at the right time.
ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck gives his expertise on all things NFL.
You evaluate players, and then you're turning them over to the coaching staff.
Every Tuesday at noon.
At the right time.
With Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Tim on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Imagine yourself in a new Toyota, like the best-selling Toyota Tacoma, with powerful off-road capabilities and the best resale value in its class. Now through April 4th, you can get low 3.99 APR financing on a new 2023 Tacoma, with approved credit through TFS, excludes TRD Pro. And every new Toyota comes with 2 years no-cost maintenance included. Get complete details at buyatoyota.com. Ready, set, go get your Toyota today. Toyota, let's go places.
What if you could be credit card debt-free in 10 days and save as much as $1,000 a month? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Hey, Willie Donick here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low monthly payment. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days. And a $50,000 loan would only cost you around $400 a month. It's that money to pay off high-interest credit cards or do a home improvement. You can access up to 90% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Stop the madness and say no to 24% interest fees. Call Loan Pronto today. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Have you seen the selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches they now have at Genesis Diamonds? If not, prepare to be amazed.
If people really know the watch world, they come in and they're in shock. They're like, I cannot believe you have this selection here. They're able to see them, touch them, feel them.
Meet Genesis watch expert Charlie Rivers, who says over the past few years, Genesis buyers have scoured the world to build a collection of luxury pre-owned Rolexes, including all the hard-to-find models.
Daytonas, Pandas, Sky Dwellers, a huge selection of Submariners, Hulks, Kermits, anything that you could ever possibly want. We have every luxury pre-owned Rolex that we have here. We ensure that it's in pristine condition.
So come in today and find the timepiece of your dreams at Genesis. Or if you already own a Rolex and are looking to trade for a different model or even sell it, Genesis can help you get top dollar.
If you have a Rolex, definitely bring it in. I would love to see it and do a complimentary evaluation on it and see what we can do for you.
Genesis Diamonds, now with one of the largest selections of luxury pre-owned Rolexes in America. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
The sports talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic and Junie Riddle for Michelle and Junie.
As long as he wants to coach there, he will be able to coach there.
I think that really did save the hope of this team.
Michelle and Junie, presented by Superbook Sports, every Saturday morning at 9 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. It's Hockey Night in Smashville.
Deflects back for Duchesne. His shot stop and the score!
What are the keys to victory tonight? What's being said in the locker room? Where do the Preds reside in the Central Division standings? Jared Stillman has the latest now. With Preds Game Day on Stillman and Company. This is Smashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Predators Game Day is presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. TJ Anderson is my agent. And I have also not only bought 2 homes thanks to TJ, but I have also had so much success in referring my friends to him. That's why I love him. TJAndersonHomes.com. TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. TJAndersonHomes.com has all the latest tools for your home search and some of the newest stuff that's coming together in one of the hottest cities in America. That's TJ Anderson of Benchmark Realty. TJAndersonHomes.com. TJ will be at Madison Square Garden, I believe, this weekend cheering on the Vols. But tonight, we've got the Predators and the Sabres. The Predators are 34-26-8, good for 76 points. The Sabres are 33-30-6, good for 72 points. That game going down at 6 o'clock at the KeyBank Center right here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Unfortunately, last week I kind of got excited about maybe the Predators could make some noise and we could see the Predators make a run at it, and it kind of feels like after losing to Winnipeg in overtime, well, first off, after losing to freaking Chicago on Thursday, and then Winnipeg in overtime on Saturday, and then getting run out of the building by a touchdown against the Rangers, kind of feels like the air is out of the bag there. Like it kind of feels like, it's probably not going to happen. But we start with the coach's take. John Hines taking on the Sabres tonight, who apparently also just got beat 7-0 too. Here's what he said.
I think it's going to be a highly competitive game. I mean, I'm sure the messaging on both teams is probably the same. And, players have pride. No one wants to get beat 7-0. And it's an opportunity for both sets of players to go back out and flush the last game and start to, play the way you need to play to give yourself a chance to win games.
So tonight, I do expect the Predators to play better. I was a little shocked. The other night I was watching basketball, and all of a sudden I just see on Twitter that the Predators are getting just lit up by the Rangers. But Roman Josi, obviously, he's hurt. He's not going to play tonight. Ryan McDonagh is a game-time decision, but it looks like Ryan McDonough's probably going to play since they sent Kevin Gravel back to Milwaukee, which is good because the less Scarbinis they have in the lineup, the better. The Predators, in theory, could make a run at it because they're still only – now, Winnipeg did beat them the other day, but they did pick up a point. They're still only 5 points behind Winnipeg, and they've got 3 games in hand. So, in theory, the Predators could make a run at it. It doesn't feel like that's very likely. So, my final thought presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty is let's just see the young guys play. Let's not get too upset if they lose. Let's not get too excited if they win. Maybe they'll make some noise down this stretch. Doesn't feel like it, but that's why we play the games. Great night of sports. We got the Preds coming on at 6. We also have the World Baseball Classic Championship tonight, so very, very exciting. That's it for us. Chase has the pregame. That's coming up next. Max Hers and Hal Gill with the puck drop at 6 o'clock. Stillman and Company. We'll see you tomorrow at 2.